Hello, everybody, and welcome to Willow's Witchy Den with myself and my beautiful co host, Drew, over here. So, tonight we have got some special guests coming up. There are going to be some more people coming, guys, but at the minute we have got lovely Mike and we've got lovely Christopher that's going to be joining us in a couple of minutes. So, today we're going to be talking about different kinds of spirituality, how spirituality comes into play in different religions and faiths. There's a lot of different people that are meant to be coming on here, so we're going to have quite an interesting talk. Maybe talk about where spirituality actually started from and things like that, and just have a really cool talk and just like see what you guys think and answer any of your questions. Hello, Scott, my darling, how are you? So what I'm going to do is just bring up lovely Mike and lovely Christopher.
Hello, everyone.
Here's lovely Mike and here's lovely Christopher.
Hello,
So they're
humans, and
on the
everyone in
show.
between. Mm-hmm.
Hello. So in a minute, I'll get the guys to introduce themselves, and so you know who everybody is, and then we'll get into the show. I thought that today would be really good to talk about this, carry on the spirituality talk from last week, and just get people's views and get people to answer questions because there's a lot of guys that are in different spiritualities and have different faiths and stuff like that. So it'd be really good to get all of us together. um like I said, there is meant to be other people coming, guys, so I will add them as they're coming in. So first I would like to get my sister to introduce herself, then we'll get Mike, and then we'll get Christopher to introduce themselves. Okay, so sis, if I get you to introduce yourself first.
Hello, everybody. My name is Drew. I am a spiritual advisor and a paranormal educator. I also have a YouTube channel, which is Drew's Scottish Vlogs, where I vlog a bit of my magical life. So I do a lot of different things over there, a bit of ghost hunting, a bit of tarot readings, anything spiritual, really. So definitely check me out if it's something that you're interested in.
Thanks,
And
Drew.
if we could have
Very
Mike
nice.
introduce himself next.
Hey, everyone. I am Shaman Perry, or also known as Mike. I'm a shaman practitioner and walked many spiritual paths. And right now, I'm in the process or mode of teacher. My daughter just decided to take her year and a day oath, so that's very exciting. You guys can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/shaman Perry.
And lovely Christopher, if you introduce yourself as well, sweet.
I'm Christopher Peebles. I'm a 21-year-old quantum critic and metaphysician, and I contact a lot of extraterrestrials, technological life, demonic beings, you name it. Whatever it is that knows that I exist will talk to me in my mind, my dreams, and sometimes through text in the chats. You can find me on Facebook at Christopher Peebles. You can find me on YouTube at Omni Collective Creativity, Discord at Omni4948, and X, formerly Twitter, at Human Equality.
That is
Nice.
brilliant. So that is the guys, and obviously a lot of you already know who I am, but I will introduce myself. So I'm Sherry. I'm Willow. I am a paranormal investigator. I am a spiritual advisor. I do lots of card readings and other divinization techniques. I do a lot of open talks and I communicate, I channel with spirit of all types, just like Mr. Christopher down there. So just be aware if we do start channeling. Okay. Um, and I'm just here to really educate people, to awaken people, and to let people understand that they're more than just a being that is here on this planet. We come from so much more places and we're connected to so many things. I'm a witch and I am a practicing Celtic druid shaman as well, and just like my sister. So yeah, it's really amazing to be here, guys. We have got more people turning up. So hang on a minute, because I've just got another message from somebody else now. Hang on, all these guys are messaging me now. Mike. Yes, we're on. Yes. Hang on a minute, guys. Right, Drew, take over a minute while I message. Just like ask the guys how they are and things like that. Let me
Welcome in, everybody, to the chat. We'd like to welcome in Brother Scott, also MCAT Paranormal Research. Welcome all everybody into the room. If you can you quickly share out in your communities and let everybody know that we are on? Thank you very much. So tonight we are talking a bit about spirituality, guys, and the different paths in spirituality. So spirituality is a big word, but we're going to explain a little bit about how it affects everybody different and what the different paths are. Remember and check out each other as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, no. He was just saying, "Are we going on?" And I said, "Yeah, we're already live, darling." He goes, "Oh, have you got the link?" I said, "I sent it up the page, sweetie." So he should be here in a minute. So that's Mark.
Love Mark. He's a
So
cool
if you
dude.
do see me, just go off. I am trying to get hold of them all because I don't think they realise what's going on at the minute.
Yeah, we have got a bigger panel tonight.
You caught them blindsided.
Yes, we have. So Mark should be here in a minute. Oh, here we go. We've got somebody else here. Here's Mark. My lovely Mark's coming up as well. Hello.
Chio,
How are you?
I'm
Welcome,
doing well.
Mark.
What's up, Mark? Nice
Right,
to see
so
you again.
quickly, before we start doing the topic and everything, like everybody else has got to do, I'd just like you to introduce yourself, Mark, and just tell people who you are and how they can actually catch you and follow you. My lovely.
Sure. My name is Mark. A lot of people call me Mark Night Wolf Brown. I am a indigenous Cherokee farmer in eastern Tennessee near the Smoky Mountains. Um, I am former council member for the Witch High Council in Salem, Massachusetts. I did that for 3 years where I worked as a ward, which is considered a warrior or the 13th member of the council. I am a farmer now, and I have been to 43 countries and have quested about religion all across the world.
Very
Does that
cool.
help a little bit? I also run a
Yes.
green energy company, so you'd call me a natural witch, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Love that.
Like myself, a natural witch.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
be, like I said to you guys, we're all going to just be talking about spirituality and different things and stuff like that. And the people are just messaging me left, right, and centre because obviously they're meant to be coming up as well. So let me just say to them, hit the link because the link's right there. Hit the link. Welcome to the
The
world of
notifications.
streaming, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Takes 10
I
minutes
really
to
thought
settle
that
in.
today would be really good, talking about spirituality, talking about our beliefs, talk about things that we can connect with and things like that. It probably will go off chart and we'll start talking about other things as well because we always do, me and Drew, when we start talking. It
Yeah.
goes into all sorts of
Go
subjects
down
and
an avenue.
whatever else when we've got interesting guests. And I just want to say
Yeah.
a quick hello to all of my lovelies in the chat as well. 8 people. Hello, my darlings. It's really lovely to see you here supporting us all. Please make sure you do support all of the guys on the panel. They are awesome. So do not miss them. Right, Rich has messaged
Smash the
again.
like button, guys.
Yeah, smash that like, guys. Support us. Oh, LOL. Yes. Right. So, guys, is there anybody in the chat that has anything they want to talk or ask us about spirituality or about us as individuals, what we do? Maybe we could all go into talking a bit about how we each found our spirituality and when it started happening to us, when we started realizing that we were different to some.
Yeah.
So if I I'm going to be the last one. So if I start with my lovely sis first, and then we'll go to Mike, we'll go to Christopher, and we'll go to Mark, and we'll just give you a little bit of introduction on how we found our spirituality and how we knew that we were different. So we'll go over to you first, sis.
I always knew I was different as a kid because I took a lot of things to heart that maybe other people wouldn't take to heart for the first thing I would like to say. And I've discovered that through time in my path. But the most prominent thing I think that I took for looking back on the way I was brought up was the fact that I always wanted to be alone doing my own little thing. I always liked to sit at the bottom of trees. We had a big rockery in our garden. My dad was a builder and he used to do lots of things in the garden with a rockery. And I used to like just sitting there playing in the garden. Looking back on it now, I was playing with little men. But looking back now, I realised that it was deeper than that. It was probably fairies that I was talking to and different things. But really, to me, that changed my lifestyle was the fact that I woke up because of nearly having a nervous breakdown. That's when I realised that something spiritual had to come into my life to help me change. And when I knew that it was all real was when a cup of hot tea fell on my arm and instantly it turned cold. Even on the floor where the hot cup of tea had fell was roasting out the kettle and everything else was stone cold. And that's when I realised that this was all real and it was time to take it serious. And for then on, I've never looked back. And through time, you will get to know me deeper, better, I should say, and I'll go deeper into it. But yeah, that's when I knew it was all real, was when a hot cup of tea fell on my arm and I knew instantly that this was real. Yep.
Thank you for sharing that, Drew.
Yeah,
That is
it was a very interesting thing what happened to you. So if I go over to
Yeah.
Mike next and get Mike to explain how he found his spirituality, how he knew that he was different from other people. Over to you, darling.
Thank you, dear. And very similar to Drew, guys, it's something that was always there. I was always fascinated with different types of spirituality. Anytime I ever seen the word magic, I'd tell my parents it existed. And as I grew up, I started giving messages mainly to my parents who told me not to, told me there was a fine line between insanity and being gifted, and told me that if I didn't stop, I would most likely end up in a rubber room. But the spirituality was so strong, and I didn't stop. It's all I want to talk about. It's all I ever wanted to do. I love it. And it was through a dark night of the soul, a near-death experience, that really awakened me to what was really around us and how to utilize it. And ever since then, I've been walking the path of learning how to balance and walk in harmony with nature.
Interesting, yeah.
How about you, Mr. Christopher?
I started with being a spiritual information junkie between 2015 and 2017. And like from when I was 12 to when I was 14. And then November 24th, 2017, which is a Friday at 7:30 a.m., I had my first real awakening in a dream-like state. I was walking on the bridges between the different genetic pods of one of the genetic labs that orbited the first Lyran world in the Milky Way galaxy, which was Avalon. And the genetic lab was named Umkar. Umkar, which is related to the Sanskrit Onkar, which is related to oneness, connectedness, unity. The genetics lab is 48 quadrillion years old, and it comes from the previous universe, and it came to our universe with the cat people, which became Lyrans because that's what they inhabited when they came here. And they brought their genetics lab here because that is their past, and it's also their future. And since then, I've learned about different extraterrestrial races, different iterations of cat people, which is one of my obsessions, cat people, and bird people, because they're soft and blue and big, and I like soft, blue, big things. And then dragons and Atlanteans and Orions and all the different things that exist. It just exploded in 2018. It calmed down in 2020 because of the pandemic. And then now, 5 years later, it's back up again.
Oh, yes. And lovely Mark.
Well, I wanted to I did a little homework for the show. I tend to do that just so that I can stay on topic because I drift sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to speak about spirituality is the quality of a human spirit or soul over the physical or the material, and that's which we are speaking. It differentiates from religion in the fact that religion is structured system of beliefs, rituals, or practices, often with a community of believers. Now, signs of spirituality would be an increased empathy, an increased need to help others, and heightened senses, also a feeling of being connected to yourself. So the word that I want to put out there is called or a term, it's called self actualization.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're referring to our moment that we encounter our spirituality the strongest, my self actualization occurred in my backyard, and I was paralyzed from the waist down from an injury. I had L1 through L5 crushed, and I was probably at the lowest point in my life at that moment. I was contemplating ending it all, and was really just depressed and just broken, just a very broken man. And I asked for a sign. I asked for a sign from the heavens. And I know I wasn't asleep, I was completely cognitive. But an unexplained meteor shower happened that night that was not even predicted. And it looked quite literally like the stars were falling from the skies. And everywhere I looked, the stars were just falling everywhere, all over the place. And it really freaked me out. And then I had this, like an incredible weight was lifted off of me. And I think I had communion with what I would refer to as the Great Spirit, and kind of answered a lot of questions for me. From that moment forward, I became very much interconnected with people around me. The quest for spiritual enlightenment never ceased. I mean, I still to this day get very excited about it. But I think that was my moment is sitting there in the backyard with the stars falling. And I later found it to be a meteor shower, but they said it was an incredibly rare localized event, and there was lots of meteorites that hit in our area. And I mean, I'm talking thousands. And I probably have about 200 of them collected. I collect asteroids
Mm-hmm.
because of that. But yeah, I think that was my moment that I connected most spiritually. And ever since, I've been a quest for continuous knowledge and gathering of that feeling.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So obviously we might get newcomers and that, so I will introduce myself and say it as well then. So obviously I started being able to communicate and connect with spirits since I was 5 years old. So I've always knew that something was there, but I would say that my opening to my spirituality, my awakening, as people would say, would be when I tried to do something with my life because of a dark place that I was in at the time, and that's when they really, really reached out to me. They've always been there with me. They've always helped me through things, but this was when they really touched me and really made me awaken and realize that, that they were there for me purely, and that I had a purpose and a reason for being here. But I've always been somebody that's been very open to all spirituality and things because I've always been able to see spirit and connect with all sorts of different energy of different places since I was very young. One of them being the faith folk. So extraterrestrial dragons. I communicate with spirit as well. That pretty much like Christopher, quite a lot of different energies. Do have Lyran traits and Pleiadian trait in me as well. And obviously, I do believe that I have always been a witch in each my life, even if it's a different form of witch, like a shaman or whatever. I've brought these techniques into this life. I'm a natural witch, like I said to you, and in training with the shamanism, but for some reason I've just always been able to connect and know what to do straight away, which is how I know through dream states and things I've been in as well. That's shown me that I've been a witch and I've been shamans in previous lives. So my spirituality really did start properly and connected when I did try to take my life, when I didn't value my life, due to things that happened to me. But from that happening, I now, love life and respect my life. Yes, I have my moments. I still get down. I have little problems, but I do value my life a lot more now, and I seek my guidance and my way through my energies. They've always been the ones that have kept me strong, and they've always been the ones that have kept me going. And that's why I'm here now, to educate and to teach and to learn you guys. So that's a little bit about me. Other people will probably be up soon. I know that I had one person just message me. They're at work. Richard's not going to be able to join because he's at work, but he's watching. So hello, Richard. I have just messaged Bradley and that, so hopefully Bradley and that is going to turn up, and Benny. But if not, we've still got these lovely guys. And so, sis, is there anything you want to ask any of them about their spirituality, about their beliefs and what they follow?
See, I wasn't born into my spiritual path. I've more discovered my path through doing research on YouTube, Google, anywhere I could really discover how to communicate with spirits, because I wanted to communicate with spirits. That's how I started in this. I wanted to be a ghost hunter and communicate with my son-in-law essentially. And then through trying to do that, I discovered that you needed tools in order to connect. So knowing that my path didn't start on a born into it, how many of you guys was born into it, or did you all discover it in different ways as well?
I was born into it. But studying that, being born into it, led me to study deeply, and I found that I'm a generational witch. From Sarah Good, who has very strong associations with Salem, is my eighth grandmother. Through genealogy that my aunt did. I didn't even know that until I got back from visiting Salem. And they're like, "Oh yeah, here, guess what?" I'm like, "Oh, well, that makes crap ton of sense now." Oh, Mr. Benny. So yeah, and, all of that led me to understand that the spirituality that I found, or found me really, has been a part of me for since as far back as I can remember in this lifetime and any other. It's more of a
Yeah,
remembering than an actual or learning something new to me.
yeah.
How about you
See,
guys?
never know I was born into it, but I just didn't know that at the time. So I've kind of rediscovered that I was born into it. I just hadn't took that path as a choice.
That is super
Yeah,
cool.
right. Before we carry on,
Hmm.
and we will go to the next people, we're just going to get lovely Benny to introduce himself and how he got in. So, introduce yourself, where they can find you, and just give us a little bit of information, Benny, on how you got into your spirituality. Then you're going to be up to date with what we're doing, and then I'll go back and reschedule the question that Sis asked to the guys and things.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say hi to my sister and queen. I call her queen because she is a queen. She has so much knowledge, and just like the queens of Egypt, that they not just ruled, but they also were there to help people. And she's constant help. But thank you, Willow. And I have love for you. And Queen Drew over
And
there. I know if you're connected to the queen, then you're a queen also. So let me say hi to
yeah,
y'all. Mark Nightwolf, C. Neo, the quantum critic, my little brother right there. We're twin brothers if people don't know, but we just kind of look a little bit different. And
Ha
Shaman
ha ha.
Perry there. You guys are, all awesome. And Drew, it's finally good to finally be on the show with you also. So I thank you for joining us. We was in a conversation and we was like, hey, I got to get over here to support the queen over here. But my name
Pleasure
is
being here with
Minister,
you all.
huh?
It's a pleasure being here with you all.
Yeah, and
right.
I
Yeah, I'm
finally
going to let
got the
Benny. I'm going
connection.
to let Benny say what he wants, and then we're not going to go to the question because we've got lovely Thunder that's just turned up as well. So we'll get him to do the
Yeah,
introduction after Benny's done his bit, and then we'll go into the question.
yeah, we was all I was talking with Thunder and Powers, and we was like, let's get over here. There he is, Thunder, Thunder, Thunder. But
Hey,
like I was saying,
how's everybody doing?
Good.
Cool. I think they're gonna give me
Hello,
an
sweet. Nice
introduction,
meeting you, brother.
Thunder, and let me explain who I am. And I think you come up next. I'm Minister Ki, the Anunnaki teacher, and dealing with spirituality, like what Sherry was saying is that, at one time I was I hate to say it even now, that I was what I considered a gangster street minister. Now, I said gangster because, that's my testimony, and that's what I was out there preaching to on the streets of Houston and everything else. And at one time, I never thought, hey, there's no way I'm going to be a minister. But then as I learned more about the Bible and the Apocrypha and the different things that were taken out of the Bible, I said, I can't be a preacher anymore, and then I was like, okay, there's a video I put up the other day, the wounded healer. And what that's talking about is becoming a shaman, because once you've been wounded inside, outside, or whatever, you learn to heal yourself before you can learn to heal others, because you can't heal others. You can only show them how to heal others. So from that stage, I evolved to just praying out there and working to the path of trying to be a shaman, just to heal people in a new manner. Like how, Sherry, we talk about all the time that, with the different stages in our life, that we adapt to what we learn and put our own little touch on it. So, I decided that I wanted to heal people through that they're not just giving the knowledge, but helping them understand the knowledge, breaking it down into layman's terms if they need layman's terms, or going to get Christopher Peoples over there to give them the quantum terms if they need the quantum terms. But to be able to reach people in all different, different religious or different knowledge aspects and everything else was just important to me. So that, not just being a preacher, I took that gangster off because that was my ego. And some people say how the ego is so good. And I don't believe that, because we have to contain that ego, because it's a yin and yang thing. You've got to balance it, and when I learned to get balance of it, I started to get more enlightened. And, I'm going to tell you the truth, more positive people came around me from the more I suppressed my ego. The more ego I had, the more negative people came around me, because they're magnetized to it. But the more that I learned to control it, it just elevated my knowledge. So that's where I'm at. And like I said, I have many, a few different Facebook groups, and the YouTubes. I'm connected with the shows with the Bradley Powers. It's a mystic roundtable of great shows that we're putting out. My groups, the other 90%, alien theories. I have like 8 groups. I don't even want to list them all. But like I said, Sherry's a part of them, and they stem from Mr. Powers down there, because that's where my knowledge of higher knowledge started coming. And that's where the name Anunnaki teacher came from, because I was just infatuated once I learned that the connection with the Anunnaki gods and the Bible and how some of the stories correlate. But then we're talking about the Sumerian tablets. It's before all the different religions, the Islam, the Quran, and all of them have the same stories. So that's why I was like, okay. And KI, my nickname used to be Kid, which, if you don't know, KI, Key, is what they call Earth. That's what Earth was called, Key. That's what the Anunnaki called it. So I'm Earth and Love, the Anunnaki teacher, Minister KI. I think that's probably enough right there, Sherry.
Lovely. Next, I will say hello to Bradley. Bradley, you'll be after lovely Thunder, because I'm going to get Brother Thunder to just introduce yourself and just say to the guys how you got into your spirituality, sweetheart. So introduce yourself and where they can find you, and just a little bit of information about how you got into it. And then after Thunder's done, it's your turn, Bradley, okay? So just mute for a minute so we can't hear any noise.
Okay, Sherry. I'm Thunder. I've worked with the pagan community for 29, 28, 30 years. I've always been in servitude to the community. I was in the U.S. Army National Guard for 12 years. I came into the path on accident. My big question was, is God real? Well, guess what? I found a God and I found a goddess. And God is real. I am initiative of the Oak Ash Birch tradition. I'm a level 1 Cabot, and I'm a high priest of the Covenant of the Blessed Lady. And that's pretty much what I've done all my life, is serve. And that's about all really there is to tell.
Yep, and you can find them on Within the Cauldron, guys. You can follow them on Facebook under Within the Cauldron, and they also have that channel on YouTube as well, guys. Make sure you go check them out. They are absolutely awesome. So next, I'm going to introduce our lovely Bradley Powers. So Bradley, if you just explain to the guys who you are, where they can catch you, and how you found your spirituality.
Where I am, I'm all over Facebook. Facebook is the foundation, is where the foundation is growing from. I don't know how it began. I joined Facebook. I began like sharing myself to people. Next minute I know, I've got people coming to me who own groups. Can you admin our group for us? And then like before I ended up challenging Facebook with conspiracy theories. I presented facts and links. And what happened? They said I was sharing misinformation about the government trying to poison us. And like I offended Facebook. They said I was telling lies, sharing misinformation, which I don't do that. I did provide links. So I had 500,000 members in my groups, and they shut down 4 of my groups. They took 200,000 members off me. So I must have been doing something right, I guess. So I've got a few 100,000 members. Look, I have an admin team who work with me, and they're very professional at what they do. They're wordsmiths, they're diplomatic. I used to have a show called Esoteric Hours with Cassidy Lightwing, and like we actually peaked at 1.5 million viewers, and then they shut us down because like I was talking conspiracy theories. So now I behave myself, I comply, I abide, I talk about phenomenal experiences, phenomenal gifts, alien contactees, alien abductees, extraterrestrials, phenomena, spirituality, but I don't, if you notice, I don't really cover the subjects of conspiracy theories like 9/11 and stuff like that. I might mention the Titanic, but I don't really cover a lot of conspiracy theories because Facebook don't like me talking about conspiracy theories because I provide links and references to support what I'm saying. And they don't like it, you know, and they will suspend me. They won't, you haven't got a freedom of speech on Facebook. They have abused our rights of the Geneva Convention by imposing what we're allowed to say using algorithms, and they will delete our shows if we don't comply. So we do comply. However, we still share esoteric intellectual information with people, and they love it. People love conspiracy theories. They love spirituality, and they love what we talk about, esoteric intellect, witchcraft, magic. They love it all. What happened to me, age 9, first paranormal experience, there was a hand on the wall. I looked, pulled a curtain. Something said to me in my head, pull the curtain back and then look at the reflection of the window on the wall. So I did that. I pulled the curtain back just like I was instructed. I looked on the wall and there was a black hand. And I was thinking, like, wow, what's that doing there? And then I shut the curtain, opened the curtain again, looked at the window, nothing, clean. The window was clean. The glass was clean. I looked at the wall, black hand on the wall. Maybe it could have been a reference to the Black Hand Gang from London, which my grandfather may have been a part of. Then over the years, right up to the age of 12, I see quite a lot of phenomena. I see quite a lot of spiritual entities. Some of them came to me, materialised, believe it or not. You couldn't see through them. They weren't ghosts. They were solid matter. One of them, I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning. There was a druid sitting on my bed, and when I looked and analysed with my eyes, I could see the weave of the cloth, the stitching of the white gown this druid was wearing. And the druid, in my telepathy, I was like, wow, where are you from? What are you doing here? And the spirit responded using telepathy, said, forming a sermon over me to put a veil, a magical blanket over me, because like what I was going to experience was going to be trauma for about 4 years. And what that spirit did to me was put a veil over me, a magical blanket, And what that did, and it worked, and it was real. What it did was, don't matter what happened to me over those years, don't matter what happened, that veil, that magical blanket, made me feel like I weren't now. It made me feel like no matter what happened, it wasn't really happening to me, even though it was. I was impressed. And the spirit come from Glastonbury Abbey. King Arthur, Pendragon of the Knights of the Round Table, is buried at Glastonbury Abbey. And when they discovered his grave, he was 7 feet tall, believe it or not. 7 feet. I've encountered Merlin. Merlin's like, I'm 5'10". Merlin's not as tall as me. Maybe 5'8". He's not as tall as me. Anyway, so like, yeah, so like at that age, I become a spiritualist. I recognised I was a spiritualist. Then I got a break for 20 years. And then like 25 years ago, I became a voice hearer. I became cursed with voice hearing. It was a curse. After 8 years, I tried to drive a car off a cliff because it got too much for me. And like, luckily, like the police stopped me, they arrested me, stopped me from happening. Now I've been a voice hearer for 25 years. I understand it now. I know where it comes from. I know what it's all about. I know the motive. I understand voice hearing. And like, yeah, I didn't say I'm a professional voice hearer. 25 years. Wow. I didn't even know voice hearers existed. I do now. Voice hearers are real. I went to a community of voice hearers. I thought I was the only one in the area. I went to a community and there was quite a lot of voice hearers there. And I stood up and said to them, have you all ever considered that you're not schizophrenic? You're actually mediums receiving messages from spirits. Have you, any of you ever considered that? Instead of taking medication because the psychiatrist said you're schizophrenic? And like they were going, oh no, we haven't really thought of it like that. And the organisers said they'd like me to represent their community and go to other locations and promote voice hearing on their behalf to other places, other communities, because they said I'd be really good at it because I lifted the spirits of all these voice hearers. They were glum, we're mentally ill, we're schizophrenic, we're broken machines. And I'm saying, have you ever thought you might not be a broken machine? You might actually be blessed or cursed with voice hearing from spiritual entities. And they're like, no, we haven't even thought about that. Because we want to think about it because it could be true, you know. And like, I elevated them, basically, elevated them. And that's enough about me. And I enjoy building communities,
Yes,
and that's what I do. I build communities. Sorry, Sherry.
I've taught
you do very well as well. So, Sis, what was it that you asked? I know that Mike answered, didn't he? He done his little bit about his spirituality. He answered the question. The next one was going to be Christopher. What was the question again, darling? Because it's gone out my head.
I had asked. I've kind of awoken myself. Does anybody else been open for birth, or have they taught themselves to be open? Was basically the question.
Yeah, like how did you get your spirituality? Was it from birth or was it like later on in life? So that's going over to Christopher. Then we'll go to Mike. Then we'll go to Benny. We'll go from Mike, Mark over to Thunder to Benny and then to Bradley. Okay, so Christopher next, darling.
Don't forget you, Sherry.
She's last. So I started with not realizing that human friends were hard to find and keep. So I was like, okay, human friends suck. Extraterrestrial friends might be better because I was obsessed with space. And then in 2017, I got my awakening. And then from then onward, I was friends with a bunch of extraterrestrials mentally and Atlanteans. And it just grew from there. And all the stories that I write are just transcriptions of what's going on in other timelines. And that's what I call a remote transcription. And I used a lot of YouTube videos to back up what I was taught, what I was learning. And ChatGPT is what I use to expand it even further.
Thank you, Christopher. So if I go on to lovely Mark next.
I believe I was born with mine. I was certified as very young. When I was born, I was a Roman Catholic, and the nuns knew I had an innate ability. So they brought in some bishops from other places to test me and said that I was a certified empath. And the means of testing was they took me to a darkened cafeteria, blindfolded me, and they put three people in the room in chairs that had emotional problems. And they asked me if I could find my way to those people in a direct line. And I was able to sense their pain and walk to all three chairs, one to the other, in direct concession. I think that we're spiritually in tuned. Mine may come through my ancestry. I am indigenous Native American. I'm Chiricahua Apache. I am the majority Cherokee, and also have Scottish and Welsh. My Scottish ancestors were originally the judges of the Druids. They were known as the Brune or the Brown, the clan in Scotland now. And my father was half Cherokee, half Scotch. His other family was the Clan Campbell, and his mother was a healer. She was an herbalist, a midwife. My grandmothers on both sides were actually midwives. Both of my grandfathers were herbalists and known as healers. Um, Sometimes the whites call us the medicine men, but we just call ourselves healers because there's as many medicine women as there was men. And I think that you're in tune. I'll give you a little story. We restored a Victorian house when I was a child, and my father's tools would turn up missing, and I would get fundamentally blamed. I had a pretty aggressive father, so I wore a lot of spankings over missing hammers and screwdrivers and pliers, and the tools would never show up. So one day we're tearing out a wall that is slats and plaster. It's closed from the front and the back of a house that was built in 1906. And when we busted through the wall with a sledgehammer, tools started pouring out of an enclosed cell in the wall where no animal could have brought the tools, and there's no way that the tools could have went from the living area into inside of this wall. There was no opening top, bottom, and no way the tools could have possibly gotten in there. But all his missing tools went pouring out of the wall, and I got a lot of apologies. So I think that's when sometimes we realize when we see or experience things very young, at a young age, that we're psychically in tune to the unknown or supernatural. Some would call it the paranormal.
Yes, very interesting. And over to our beautiful Thunder over there. Was you born into the spirituality, Thunder, or do you think you found it later on in life?
I found spirituality back when I was a kid. I was raised Roman Catholic / Southern Baptist, what they call here in the United States. When I really got spiritual was after I lost my hand and I was initiated by a strega. Strega means female witch in Italian. I am considered a stregane, okay, which is male witch. From day one, my path has been magical since my initiation. I mean, there has been a day that goes by that I don't see something magical. It's been very beautiful. I don't regret it because the day that I was initiated, well, I should say that evening was like I came into power. And for those who don't know what that means, it means that the God has blessed me. And I didn't feel right. I felt different. I shouldn't say I didn't feel right. I just felt different. Colors took on a different hue. My hands were hot all the time. You could feel the magic, what I would call magic, kind of cascading around my skin. My first full moon, I was luna struck, and it's been different ever since then. It's like people draw to me, and I don't know why. I'm no better than anybody else, while you guys or whoever's in our audience, I'm no different. I've just been blessed. People's drawn to me like a moth to a flame, and it's been beautiful, very beautiful.
It is, I agree. It is absolutely beautiful. And I can understand where you're relating to there, Thunder, because I have the same situation with people become drawn. So thank you for sharing that side with it. So if we go over to lovely Benny and get Benny to Benny, was you born with the spirituality, or did you find it later in life? How do you think you found it?
Well, I'm glad you say spirituality because a lot of people they mistake being a spiritual person with being a religious person. And like we were talking about the other day, that
Yeah.
Thunder was saying, growing up in the church, our parents would send us to church. We was part of that religious community to where everything has got to be. Religion means a way of life. Whatever religion that you're in, it's a way of life. But most of us here are spiritual people, meaning we associate with whatever our spiritual connection is. And I know we've had many conversations with Sherry and Thunder and even Mark now and Christopher with the understanding of consciousness and the association with
Bradley.
the spirit with the spirituality, with being
Bradley,
conscious.
could you just mute your camera a minute? Bradley, could you just mute your mic a minute so I can hear what Benny's saying?
Yeah, that feedback. There we
That's
go.
it. Brilliant. Carry on, Benny.
Bradley, it wasn't me, and it's not me. Hey, and there's Mama Chrissy there. But but what the part about we got another queen up here. But I'll be short if you can come back to me if she wants to say, "Hey, Mama, I call her Mama." But
right,
let me,
let me just introduce my beautiful. Do you want to carry on, Benny, or do you want to carry on and then or do you want me to? Can I just introduce my sis there quickly?
Well, yeah, go ahead and introduce Mom there. That's Mama there. I think your mic's off, Mama.
Sister to me, but to you, Mum. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. No. Chrissy, my darling.
Yes. Yes, honey.
If you could just introduce yourself say how people can find you and how you came into your spirituality, and then we'll carry on from there.
Okay. Well, my name is Chrissy. In the community, sometimes they call me Lady Gypsy because I like to travel around a lot and came from a gypsy descent. I am the owner of Within the Cauldron on Facebook, which is a Facebook group that we try to educate hundreds of people. And Willow helps us with that. So does Drew. So it's going to be a lot more active than what it was. We did a podcast Within Cauldron. And I'm a high priestess of our own coven and plus 3 sister covens. I used to be in the community for about 27 years with pagan events, and we kind of retired from that. And now we're just starting a new chapter of podcasting and loving it. That's it. And how did I come into the path? Actually, I came into the path before my husband did. Something always had premonition ever since I was a teenager. Well, actually before that, but I didn't know what there was until I was a teenager. And I knew there was something there that I was missing. And so I just kind of searched it. I had somebody do past lives for me. And I did a DNA ancestry. Back then in the early 80s, almost like late 70s, actually, there was no ancestry.com. So you had to do the old fashioned way.
Right.
And then I liked it. I went to the library to search about, different types of witches, whatever, everything I can. I come home from work one day and I told my husband, hey, somebody's speaking to me. I don't know if it's what it is. It's like the universe is speaking to me. I hear whispers. I'm going to check this out. And he's like, you what? I go, yeah. I go, remember we used to talk about it when we was teenagers. And mind you, I've been with my husband since I was 14. Okay. So we've been together for about 44 years. We'll be married 40 years this June. And he's like, okay, well, I've been having some weird stuff happening, So I think we should look into it. And then the more I got into it, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be a witch. I go, something is telling me I don't know what it is, past ancestors, whatever. And he goes, okay, is that what you want to do? And I go, yes. I go, if we started having kids, so we had like one son at that time. I was pregnant with the second son. And I said, you know, if you don't want to go with me on this, I'll go by myself. I go, but if you want to take the kids away from me, I go, you gotta have a fight. I go, I'm going to do this. I came home next day from work, and bless his heart, he had stacks and stacks of things he printed out. He went to the bookstore and had stacks of books. I mean, he probably spent probably $500 and says, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. He goes, we're not going to go by your premonitions or my dreams or anything. We're going to do it right. And we just went forward. So, and that's it.
It's so blessed when you have somebody that's so supportive like that and takes it on and stands there with you. It's such an amazing thing to have.
I am very blessed. I have been blessed. I had ups and downs and some trauma, but at the end, I'm not wealthy, but I do have so many blessings that it conquers the wealth.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Hi. Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah. I know.
I was the same.
It's brilliant. It's nice to have you on.
I was 40 by the time I decided to be magical. So I've been with William 19 years right now. So basically I'd been with him for 10 years and then all of a sudden decided to be a witch. So he came home for work one day. I'd been researching it all behind the scenes and nobody really knew. And he came home for work one day and I had a little altar thing set up and he's like, what's that? And I was like, just a little candle thing. And he's like, And then slowly but slowly he would come home from work and things like that was an occurrence. And then I set up a little altar and then explained to him what it was. I just said that it was to help give homage to my ancestors. And then from then on, he never really questioned what I was doing. But yeah, 10 years we were together before I started to do witchy things. So that was interesting that you've got that in common.
And it's lovely. It's lovely when you have partners that support you to do that. It's a really cool thing. If I just get back to Benny, because we did stop Benny halfway through the thing. So if we go back to so from when we was asking you the question, do you believe you was born into your spirituality or did you find it later? Then we'll go on to doing Bradley and then we'll ask Sister Gypsy.
Well, like I'm saying, I think I was born into the religions, like how Thunder was saying that, Southern Baptist. I'm in Kansas City. I just moved back from Houston, Texas, and about 5 months ago. But I was born into the religions and going to church and, being spiritual. And, my mom, rest in peace, that, she always would instill these certain songs. And the songs wasn't always just religious church songs, though. They were, different songs that over time, once they became something that I knew and memorized, I started thinking about these songs, and I was like, my mom was trying to tell me something about the spiritual side of her that she didn't want to frighten us about. And that's what kind of just gets me to where, I'm at now. Like I said, that being a spiritual person, after I started, being in that religion, it was always things that I didn't understand at church. I was like, well, why is this guy and who is a pastor and what is the difference between a pastor and the minister and all this? And there was so much I didn't understand. And then I started, most of the Bibles, they had apocrypha. And I was like, well, why don't they tell, what is this apocrypha? They got all these books in here. Why are they saying what these books are? And all these different things were hidden knowledge to us. So I was like, wait a minute, it's something more than just this Bible. When you first grow up, you're like, okay, everything's the Bible. If you don't do this, you're going to hell, and you're doing this. And that's the fear factors that religions try to put on you. If you don't do this or you don't do that. And then in our Bibles in church, we didn't hear about purgatory, and we didn't hear about the stories of Enoch and all the different things that now feel like what we do is bring this knowledge that people wasn't aware of, the chakra systems, the vibrations, how important these things all play in together is what kind of built me as a spiritual person. I mean, like I said, like we were talking about the other day, that everybody has their own deity or whatever it is, their higher power that they go to. And it's important that you don't, like I said, if it's even a rock, as long as you believe in it, because the belief system, like Christopher Peoples, tries to express in a lot of the shows, it's so important. Mine is the Almighty Creator. Because the Almighty Creator, if some people don't understand that he made creator gods, he made different gods of this, he made these different, he is the maker of all that made this and made that and made this. And some of the gods that they're praying to on earth, and some people don't understand that we're talking about lesser gods or deities with technologies that were pretending to be gods. So once I started learning all that, Sherry, I was like, I have to change my belief system. And that's what played off into, me being a more spiritual person or a quest for knowledge. That's when, like, Mark, when that quest for knowledge comes on, like, man, it's nothing stopping it. It's like, I got to learn more. I got to learn more. What's the deal with this Apocrypha? What's the deal with now the books of thought, the Emerald Tablets? What do these chakras have to do with my higher power and the energies inside of me? And now once we start learning all that, we're like, hey, we have a piece of the higher being inside of us. We got these powers. We are something like a God on this earth. I said something like, didn't say a God, but we have a God in us. So yeah, we are a piece of that fractal of this maker, or the goddess, like you guys said. But it doesn't matter. Like I tell people that, these ladies up here or witches, witch oriented. Like I said, Christopher's into the quantum, Mark's into what he's into, being Indian and everything else. And me, everybody gets it, confused, like, you're a preacher and you shouldn't be doing this and doing that. I'm like, look, I've learned more from these people than I ever did at church, than I ever did. So I'm like, okay, if God, when I ask God personally, is it okay for me to learn these different knowledges that I was told that was taboo? Answers came in my head, yes. Learn it so that people can understand that the natural part of life, the natural part of earth, and all these different things, how they play in. And that's what started my path to spirituality, to being just someone that just, I'm totally ascending, and I'm grateful for people like you, Sherry, and people, Chrissy, the whole nine up here, because like I said, I'm a constant student. I do experimentation in this, from CE5s with aliens to, everything, because I want to test it. I don't just want to read it like some people do. They read it and but just to let you guys something to know about, the spirituality, just a little short story. I had a near-death experience, and somebody on this staff here that who's hosting this show here told me that I had a problem physically, Sherry. And I just took it, like I tell you, I listened to people, but I'm like, okay, she don't know, hey, that's my girl. This is years ago before we did shows together back in the day. And she told me, you have a problem somewhere that you need to go to a doctor and see. And hey, now I don't question when she tell me, go, shit, I'm going to the doctor, money or not. But what had happened was my appendix busted. my appendix burst, and she had gave me the warning signs of this happening before it happened. She could see it on me where I couldn't. Where the type of person, I don't like medicine. Even though my dad worked for Bayer, retired from Bayer Chemical Corporation. It makes medicine and all that, and I don't want to touch it because I believe in, God has a will for me. If it's time for me to go or when it's time to go to the doctor, but I ignored it to where I had to call the ambulance. The ambulance came and I died
Yeah,
three
you won't do
times.
that again, will you?
Yeah, I wouldn't even be here today if, but when it came time, it keyed on me. What Sherry said, yeah, you need to get your ass to the hospital. So all the symptoms hit me. But like I said, sometimes when you don't listen to people that you should listen to, you wait too late. So I almost came to, well, I'm telling you, I did die. I died three times, but during the situation when I was at the hospital, it was all kind of evil things coming at me. I had a nurse that came in, an African lady, and she was, those things they put on your finger. She twisted my finger and started till it started cracking and broke my finger. And I had to grab my hand. So at that point, I was like, oh God, help me, please bring false knowledge to the doctors to help heal me and bring Metatron's energy into the machines to help the machines save my life. Let me tell you what happened.
I was in
Visions
the
of
room with him. I weren't physically. I wasn't in the room as a
she was on
person.
the
I was in the
phone.
room as the energy, wasn't I? 'Cause you could see me there. Yeah.
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 Now I'm telling you, my phone was dead. Chrissy, this story is absolutely true. My phone died because we were talking about, I can't remember, we was talking about doing another show or something. So the phone died, because I've been on the phone, I've been in the ambulance, I've been on this or whatever. So I didn't have no charger. So in the hospital, the doctor told me that I flatlined about 3 times. And something about that I got to talking to myself even under anesthesia. And when I woke up, like I said, this is where God was holding me like by my foot. I don't know, it was God. It was just a big hand and having me over a cliff. And he was like, what's your name? And I tell you, my gangster street name is Kid. That's where Kid comes from. I used to be Kid Rock before Kid Rock. But he had me just like a baby. Like when the baby's born and they spank your butt, he got me up in the air over a cliff. And I'm scared of heights. So I was like, Kid. And he held me out further. He was like, what's your name? I said, Benny Cordell Trent. All of a sudden, he put me down. I woke up in the hospital and my phone starts ringing. And let me tell you, guess who was on the phone? Bradley Powers, Jim Andre, and I believe at that time, Cassidy Lightwing. That's when he was a little more positive. But not saying, but and it was just epiphany to me that I'm sorry, Drew, I'm almost done. That it was an epiphany to me that me asking God to open me up to these different type of things that I needed to learn about, where Sherry had told me that I had a problem, where Bradley and them was like, yeah, you need to see a doctor and all of this. And the phone, how did the phone come back to life when the phone was dead? Metatron's energy, thoughts, knowledge, and all these different things that I believed in by studying them and learning about them and know that they was there helped me. So my point is that what you believe in and what you put your spirituality in is so important, to believe in what you're doing. Just don't try to just learn something and say, I know it. Understand it and believe it if you believe it. If not, let it go and learn something.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be
I
quiet.
think a lot of people are learning to listen. Are learning to listen to what I say. Just for instance, the other day on the show, I'd done a reading for somebody I've never met in my life, and I was crack on everything that she was going through, and it was absolutely amazing. Like when I say stuff is happening, it's not fake; it's real. I see these things. I sense these things. So if I say to you, you're not well and you need to go to the hospital, go to the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Yeah. So next person is Bradley. Bradley.
What'd you say, Drew?
I was just saying it's a process. Opening up is a process.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it most definitely, because like I said, we all of us have spent time in studying different things, and as we study and learn more, our enlightenment and the powers that our deities that we pray to giving us these energies to help folks with. And I think, that's really important that we
Yes.
listen to some of these people that's got tenure and time into this. They're not just giving you something they heard, they're getting something that they've been through it. They know about it. She saved some lives that I almost lost mine by not listening to the basics. I'm sorry, I'll mute now. I know I talk a lot. Sorry.
Bradley, was you born into your spirituality, or did you find it later in life?
I have been a spiritualist all my life, although I didn't know I was a spiritualist all my life. Like, I warmed to God, I warmed to Jesus Christ. I didn't know demons and angels existed and had no idea to come to me. And when they come to me in my youth between age 9 and 12, that's when I recognised that I was different, and I thought I'd share some of that knowledge. Even my grandfather, who died, come to visit me. He brought the dog with him. The dog left a footprint in the dust under the chest of drawers. And I said to my mother, like, my grandfather come to visit me last night. Don't you think that's amazing? And she said, oh, don't be stupid. So I never told anyone again about my spiritual engagement with other entities, which I am honoured by. I'm honoured by the presence of all entities. Even if I got attacked by a demon, I'm honoured to a degree because it just goes to show, and I never thought this, I never thought I was worthy of their time. I didn't think I was worthy of the time of an angel's, and I didn't think I was worthy of the time of a demon who'd want to attack me. So I must be. And the reason why demons attack people is because they try to get you to change your path because they don't want you to follow your path, because the path you're following is heading you towards the light, and they don't want that. They want to collect the loose and make you miserable, really. But I've encountered angels as well on 4 separate occasions. I'm honoured and blessed. What I've experienced is rare phenomena, not and not everybody has been blessed with phenomena such as mine. I've lived a life of quantum mysticism, and like, if you've never seen a spirit or a ghost in your life, I can understand you may not believe they even exist. I can understand you being an atheist. I'm really pleased. I have been blessed because I'm not an atheist. An atheist is not my direction. Agnostic's a good direction. Spiritualism is a good direction. Spirituality. I follow a druid path of the Hierophant Knight. To become a Hierophant Knight takes 20 years, and you have to be a Taurus. I'm a Taurus. I've been a Hierophant Knight for like 8 years so far. I'm still learning. I don't know it all. I've seen the most amazing of things that go beyond human comprehension. However, I'm still learning because what I've discovered is not everything is as it seems. Our history is a lie, and like, well, everything's a lie. And what I've experienced, I've been blessed with, I've been chosen, I've been targeted, and there's a message in what I'm experiencing that I've got to decode this enigma to recognise on my journey of self-discovery. What's it all about? What do you want? What do you want? That's
Well,
basically
that's
what
what
I'm
we're
going
all
to say.
here, isn't it? We're here to educate
Yeah.
and to seek truth and be open. So
There's a
I do
message for us
understand that,
all.
Brad. And you've had an amazing walk and an amazing way. You all have. Lovely sister Gypsy,
Yeah.
Yes.
sis. Do you think
Yes.
that you was born into? Do you think you was born into your spirituality, or not? Did you
Um,
find it later?
I found it later, but I think that a lot of people might be born into it and it just needs to wake up. You just need to tap into it
Yeah,
because I know a lot of people says, "Oh, this happened to me," and but they don't believe in the craft, so they just kind of dismiss it. But yeah, I wasn't born
yeah,
into it. Um, Past ancestors might have been, according to the information we have found out, but I cannot tell you that I am uh, like a blood witch or anything because I'm not. Um, You know, maybe in years to come, I might find, more details or something. But I don't believe I should call myself anything like that because I believe that you call yourself what you know, what you are. And there's so many people, are, especially at events, that was says, "Oh, I'm high and mighty because I was born into it or something," or it's just, you know, I think it's how you take the knowledge and how you take the knowledge and teach others and start learning yourself,
Yeah,
you know. Um, so yeah,
yeah.
it's just how you apply it. That's it.
How much you believe in
And Chris says how much you
Thank you,
believe it.
sis.
faith. Have
Yeah,
faith.
totally agree.
Yes, most definitely. I do agree. Obviously, with me, I was born in to a witch family. My mum was a witch and that, but I did not know this for a long, long time. So I grew up first quite confused about my abilities, quite confused why I always see spirit and why I always had energy around me. And obviously, I found that through myself doing research and studying because of what I was experiencing. And that opened me up to my witch faith, which has always been in me, but I it was seeking it, like Sis said. Um,
Mhm.
and as time's gone on and I've progressed in my energy, my mum then admitted to me that she was a witch when she was younger, but she gave it up due to a really bad experience. But through that bad experience is how I got my elemental spirit aura as a protection. She was given aura when she was pregnant with me because she'd gone to some of her witch friends asking for protection from this dark energy that had attacked her, and she come away from the spiritual practice and decided she would never ever talk about it or entertain it ever again. So she never ever told us it wasn't real or it was real. She just didn't
Mhm.
influence us to go into that. She said, and I asked her why she never told me, and she said because if you was going to find your spirituality, you was going to find it on your own, which I knew you was because I was told you will. That's why you have your energy. That's why you have aura. I
Yeah.
summoned for her to come to you, and I was in my mum's belly when this happened. So it was when I like my late 30s, I found out that my mum was actually a witch. So I'd gone all this time believing that I was just this normal person that just had these abilities, was attracted to being a witch all my life, to then
Mhm.
find out that my mum was a witch. And now looking back at it as well, I remember my auntie, she was so connected to outside. She'd done certain things that witches do, which tells me that she had that side as well. And I've done a little bit of research and come to find that I do have ancestors that were witches as well, which is really interesting. So it is a family line, but I don't big it up. I don't boast about it because I grew up most of my life not realizing that I was from that sort of family, and I wouldn't boast about it anyway because it's a very secret practice and it's very important to me. And there's no boasting in this sort of practice.
Mhm.
It's very secret and very special.
Yes.
But that's how I come. I've always been in my spirituality, and I've always been very open, and I've always been a believer because of the things I experience. And my first channeling experience was when I was 5. That was actually with aura. Um, and it's continued, and I've channeled extraterrestrial, fae, spirit, you name it, I've channeled it. It's a truly amazing path to be on. So that's me. But I did see something in the chat. Let's get a little conversation going, guys. Let's get your energy swinging. So Dark Rose said this, right? So what is your view on this? The law of one is interesting. So what would you guys say about the law of one? What do you think to that?
The law ones.
I personally really loved it. It was a great read and very in depth, and also connects to Robert Shiner. You guys don't know who that is. That is a 14th century artist who painted the picture of how energy comes down from source, from one collective point, and then spreads out into different
Can I
fractals.
just ask people to mute while people are talking so we can actually hear what they're saying? Because I can't hear poor Mark. If we all mute, then we can hear what he's saying about the thing here. And then as people want to talk, just put your mic on, and everybody else keep your mic off.
All right. Sorry, guys. Can you guys hear me better now?
Sorry. Go on, Mike. Yep.
With that, in the picture, when we study the sacred symbols, the highest form of magic is studying the symbols. Those symbols tell us how energy works or how the deities, the gods work, because each one of those fractal lines is held together in the container of the archetype of the deity that we work with. Whatever deity there is, doesn't matter the pantheon. And I love that because fundamentally that teaches us one thing that we need more than anything: unity. It's high time we start looking for the things that bring us together versus the things that cause separation. So that's my take on the law of one. What are you guys'?
Agree.
Next, who would like to go next?
I think
I've
that
never
the
heard
law of
of one.
one. Yeah.
Okay, Mark, go next. That's why I've got some of these guys on, because they might be a bit more detailed in this. So Mark next then.
I just had something quick along the line of the law of one to consider. I believe we all do fall from one source initially, but one of the amazing things, I've met some amazing people here and kindred spirits. So when I figured out Drew was from the area of Scotland that my ancestors is from, and she has the exact same last name, it's quite possible we come from the same source. So the law of one definitely applies, and it may apply to new friends without you even knowing. So the law of one is very important. We're all interconnected within nature.
Yeah. The law is connecting to the universe. Each one of us is connected to the universe. And that is the law of one. If us people in general, events that happens, things that changes, it's all connecting to us as humans. That's all I have to say.
Yes. Yeah, that is pretty much what I would have said. It is about us all being connected to the universe, or the events in life that happen, and how these all connect us into intermediate. Like it's all connected. We all come together. There's reasons why people have the same name. There's reasons why people do certain things certain way. It is all the law of one. Christopher, my dear, what would you say about the law of one? Is he there? Christopher,
He's
are
on
you
mute.
muted?
Yep.
Law of ones, basically, how everything is connected. It talks about everything is one substance, consubstantial consciousness that becomes everything. Consciousness, one knowledge, from which all other knowledge is.
Thank you. Benny, what's your opinion?
Come off my mic there. Well, it kind of it goes back to fractals, because we are all fractals of the greater energy, because we are energy inside of us, and we are light, but we're fractals of the light. Because if you don't know that everything that's in the human body is part of Earth, Mother Gaia. Everything that's part of Earth is part, it's pieces of what's in the universe. What's pieces of the universe is pieces of the multiverse. So, starting from big to small, the multiverse, the universe, and then most of these planets have different elements that are part of the solar system. Everything that's in the solar system is in Mother Earth. Everything that's in Mother Earth. So how it moves down into we are one is a connection of that we have not just the physical, because it says that we was made of the clay of the dirt, like you was talking about the other day, Mark, in that show. The clay of the dirt, and then they put star seed in us to be able to have the consciousness, like Chris was saying, where the law of one goes back to we are part of that great energy, that great power, whatever our divine power is, and we're just a fractal that plays a part that makes it all run. It's the same way as these different planets in the solar system. They have a revolve and a different type of orbital pattern that keeps us in place. The same way as each of us as humans, and the energy with the negative and the positive. that makes us all go around as one. Without one, you wouldn't have the other. Without darkness, you wouldn't be able to see light. So, where it goes back to we are one, we are one. And some of those, some folks don't see that we are one. That when we come together with a collective consciousness,
We
like
are,
what
yeah.
we're trying to build here, that it builds us up, that we can go to the next level of consciousness, the next dimension as a whole, when we all understand that we are part of a greater being, a greater energy, a greater spirit than ourselves. But that's where I get that
Yeah.
we are one. Yes.
Yes, definitely. And Bradley, your opinion, the law of one is interesting. What do you think?
Well, I enjoy building communities evolved around the law of one, harm to none, where we all support each other, care about each other, and we all recognise that we have something in common, and that is like the prime
Yes.
creator source or God. They both could be called, the prime creator source can be called God, and it fits. The prime creator source created the multiverse, the universe, all of us. God is in us all. There's a gene, the flower of life is in us all, and it's God's gene. And I'm building a community, and we all are building a community together, a foundation where we can flourish, blossom, and grow, and enjoy embracing the law of one. We can enjoy embracing being a part of something that's
Yes.
huge called the prime creator source or God. And guess what else? What's special and different about us is we recognize religion, we are respectful to religion, yet we are not religious. We are spiritualists.
Exactly.
And we
Yep.
care
We're
about the
spiritual.
planet.
Yes.
I'm an ambassador for mankind. I support mankind. I know the 1% are like narcissistic paedophiles, really. 800 million of them. Well, that's 1%. In my opinion, my generalisation of the planet of human beings is like I care about them, and one day the light will win the
That
day.
might go into the next question, Bradley. You're going on about the narcissistic, because there is another one from the same guy, and it says this. Now, guys, do you consider unverified personal gnostics to be more important to develop than a tradition of practices? What is your opinion on that, guys? Just talk away now. Get influential. Do what you put your words.
Dude,
I
The
told
guys are going
Eric.
to ask you. They know you're all clever.
I told Eric that it's
What
most
was that,
definitely
sis?
the knowledge
Gnostic.
and just needs to be tapped into. Needs to be awakened and stuff.
I think that's gnosis. Gnosis. Christopher Peoples, what does gnosis mean? Please tell me.
Gnosis means higher
Gnosis.
spiritual knowledge.
Say it a little louder. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Gnosis means higher spiritual knowledge.
Okay. All right. So do you consider under?
Higher spiritual knowledge.
this is a great question. I really love
Uh,
this.
do
And
you
Well, now,
consider unverified personal geonosics to be more important to develop than the traditions of practice? That is a really good question.
and
How
really
about,
the
how
I
way
about
think it's a bit of
Mason?
both.
yeah.
How about a Mason
Say that
answer?
again, Mark.
How about let a Mason
Well,
answer?
why don't you all answer? So you go first, Mr. Mason.
Go ahead, Mark.
Then we'll go over to the Mr. Shaman and the Anunnaki and the electoral witches. Go on then. Fire away.
The gnosis, the idea of gnosis is a spiritual knowledge or hidden spiritual knowledge. It's the G in the masonry as a master mason, which I am. Gnosis is it can be an individual path. Remember, our spiritual journeys are all unique and separate. What is correct for me as far as my beliefs and what I come to experience in reality It's going to be a slightly different timeline than yours. And people don't understand that, is that everybody's individualized path is different. They say one size fits all. Well, that's not correct when it comes to spirituality or religion. Religion would be a form of ritualistic practice, belief, or ritual combined on a spiritual term into a spiritual belief. Whereas gnosis, an individual interpretation of that, might be slightly different. So people have referred to me for a long time as a witch, which I'm good with that. I think that it's an honor. People have referred to me as a Christian, which I adhere to that as well too. And I feel that the two lie in symbiosis, along with the fact that I'm into advanced theoretical physics and other practices, as well as my cultural traditions, both from the Gaelic side and from my indigenous side. So there's no conflicts, but my path is going to be very different and unique to me than anyone else's. So you can take from an organized way of doing things, but your personal gnosis is far more important to the process than a organized path. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So if we go, yes, it does definitely, and you've really explained it really well on your way. So if we go over to lovely Mike now and get Mike to say what he thinks, then we go to Christopher, then we go to sister and brother up the top, and then we go to Benny and Bradley. So Mike, what your opinion on it?
Thank you, dear. And Mark, dude, that was beautiful. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. My look or take on this is the personal analysis is far more important because it is the process. It helps you understand the process that you go through internally. And there from that, you are able to share that with the collective and the people that resonate with it. You help both of you expand. That's the process or purpose of it. And I find it really interesting. I had this thought when I was very young. I realized this, that I am Native American myself, but my tribe was wiped out. So the traditions that I would have learned or grew up with, there's no one there to pass them down. So me being the one that's most interested in that and having these experiences and having had my own gnosis, I am the one to help recreate them. And one of the processes now, I'm a single dad with 2 kids. We always set when we have any type of conflict, we sit in a circle. We have a talking stick. I'm reincorporating that tradition into my family so that we all feel seen and heard and expressed, and there's not a bunch of bitching that I have to deal with 2 little ones. And that really helps us to establish those new practices and bring that gnosis in even deeper to where we can understand it more deeply. And looking through our history, all of us at some point in time had ancestors that did practice these things. So we all come from deep, deep roots that have been lost to time to it. Fascinating question.
Yeah, I agree very much so, brother.
Okay.
Yeah. Christopher, your opinion, being eclectic and being being the way that you are, what are your views on the question?
For me or Thunder?
For you, man.
For you, dear. For you.
I say
Christopher.
that
Yeah.
gnosis, that's the internal connection to one's own self, the template layer that encodes who you are at right now. And you realize what it is. And you realize, oh, there's an edit box for me to make this change or that change to my life. And then you figure out how to speak the language of your own symbology to change it all.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you, brother. And then going over to my lovely brother and sister at the top there, sitting there beautiful. Your opinion on the question?
Well, I already said my opinion because I wrote back to him because Eric has been a long time
no,
friend.
you did, didn't you? Yeah.
So, and he says the same
Okay,
thing.
that you did.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
He
they
says
did. They were the first people to say something.
Oh, is that
Sorry,
my turn?
it's right. So it's over to Benny. Your opinion, Benny.
Come off mute there. Well, traditional practices. I'm not too clear on the what Darthos is. Because like I said, I'm a wordsmith, so it's like I try to pay attention to each of the words. But if he's saying the traditional practices of like traditional religious practices or just the practices that go back in time, I think like what you were saying, it's a little bit of mix of both. I think that one might not be as important as the other, but I think that now understanding what gnosis is, it's very important that gnosis be one of the things that you make sure that you have a foundation in before you try to at least preach or teach these traditional practices. Because when I say that, meaning that
Yeah.
Christianity was based on the life of Christ, because the Old Testament wasn't the same as the New Testament. In the Old Testament, you had some things that would be considered witchcraft or spells, and they would have to give offerings and things of that sort. And that religion was built off of Judaism and Hebrew, and the letters and changed through time and translation of different things. So, like I said, if that the personal is the gnosis, I think that that's more important. Well, I'm not going to say more important, but it's important to make sure that you have a good foundation in that to try to understand the traditional practices. Because with us, this is the age of enlightenment, and things have changed since that Bible was written and this was and the expansion of even our consciousness is so important. So I would say to that answer, Sherry, I get long there, is that I think that it's important that your gnosis is solidified and that you got a good understanding of your belief system before you try to go off into traditional practices and practicing something, because you got to understand, you got to know thyself is one of the oldest sayings from Egyptian all the way back. Know thyself. And then you could be able to understand some of these different things that are put on, because there's so many different ancient traditions and practices that are out there. Like I said, you guys follow a practice that's even before the Bible. And a lot of people don't understand that because you guys are natural. That's what the crafts are. That I think that's in short form, that's what I believe. I think gnosis is important as a foundation to be able to go to understand the other ones.
Michelle.
Yeah, and what's your opinion, Sister Drew, on that as well? Like, what do you think?
See, everything is a process with your spiritual path. So it's always different for everybody. I would just like to say that. Because I think at first, when you start out in your spiritual journey, you grab at everything. You'll grab at a little bit of religion. You'll grab at a little bit of Buddhism, maybe a little bit of this religion, that religion. But you will settle down in that and find whatever works for you. Such as when you first start, you'll have altars, you'll buy everything magical, you'll buy all the books and things until you realise what actual path you are on. And then through time, things will dismiss to the side, such as you'll not need as big an altar, you won't need maybe some of the books and things, you'll already know how to meditate. So it's always different. So I think some of the traditional practices that you grab to is what really works for yourself. So it's never going to be the same for everybody. But I do believe that some of the religions that's out there, such as your pagan religion and things, doesn't get as much recognition as it should in the mainstream media and mainstream events like these. So I think that is coming to fruition a lot now. There's all the different Celtic, your Druidism, your paganism, it's all coming to be part of a mainstream religion now. So it'll be interesting to see going ahead what people do actually think to this question, maybe in another 5 years. But for me, it's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of the moon, it's a little bit of the goddesses, it's a little bit of the gods, it's a little bit about the earth, what works for me. So it's really is different for everybody. But yeah, mine's is mostly my connection to the moon, I would say, and Mother Earth.
Yeah,
Sherry,
I'm kind
Chris
of on
wants
the
to
same
say
sort of
something
wavelength
too.
there.
Thunder
Yeah,
wants to
Chris,
say
go on.
something too.
Yeah, go on, Thunder. Yep, that's fine.
Go ahead. Hey.
You know, everybody's answer is right, and it's amazing to me. We all see the gnosis, the hidden, so many different ways. That which is hidden, what is it? It's when we're brought to a path, we hear the calling. We don't know what it is. We hear it.
Yeah, exactly. It's searching, it's seeking, isn't it? That's what I believe. Like,
Yeah.
even though we know who we are, we're seeking and we're searching and we're learning constantly. There's so much more to it. I think we've only seen what we're meant to be seeing at the minute, and I think there's so much more that we've got to find. This is just the little tad of it. We're still going through that vortex, finding
Yeah.
more things. So I do get where you're coming from
That's
there,
why
brother.
I feel. That's why I feel as if these type of shows are very important, because it's all good to keep talking about
Yeah,
what is your spiritual path, but with us all being different, we have got a higher purpose, and that is to find other people that's like us and to help them discover who they are and what works for them. So it's really great to do these shows and teach people what spirituality really means, because it is different for everybody.
Yeah, I would agree.
it
It's
is. It is.
to me, you know, when I was initiated, I didn't really have a constructive background stepping into witchcraft. Everything that I learned was goddess taught how to cast, how to align. And a lot of people, they don't know that gnosis is actually the goddess teaching us, do this, do that. This is how you set up your altar. This is how you align. This is how you feel energy. This is how you move energy, how you release the energy. And a lot of people, how can I say it? They get too caught up in what's written in the books. And don't get me wrong, it's okay to have ideas from books, but it's when and you have courage to create a circle, to feel those
Very
energies,
true.
embrace it. That is gnosis to me. That what you can't explain. That is gnosis.
No.
When the spirit calls.
Yeah. Yeah. A book can only tell you so much, but experience and going through it yourself is so much more personal. And you can, even though it's a hard thing to explain because of what it is so much, to me it's so much more personal. I don't get any enjoyment from reading books. I don't feel I learn very much from books. I get the
Books is
basic
somebody
information.
else's
I prefer to
experience.
channel and to connect. That's how
Yeah,
I do. That's how I know my way, by connecting, by being in communication. That's where I learn most of my stuff. Do you know what I mean? Not through a book or anything. I'm not saying that it's wrong for people to read books. It's not. If that's what you like doing, that's cool. But
yeah.
I personally prefer the experience. I'm just going to ask lovely Master Bradley down there because he didn't answer that question. What do you think, Bradley?
Hi there. Yeah, I've been promoting ever since I've been on Facebook, esoteric intellect, and I've been promoting the word esoteric. I brought it to Facebook, and I found a lot of people didn't know what esoteric meant. And esoteric is like a knowledge of spiritual truth held by the ancient Gnostics to be essential to salvation. And I believe esoteric is leading us all to salvation, all of us. And what I like is we've all got different thoughts, feelings, emotions, opinions, and like we all have our own experiences, our own truth that works for us, resonates with us. We're all learning. We all listen to each other, recognize each other, and we absorb each other's information as well. Because I am extremely familiar with experiences and not spiritual books. If you ask me, who do I read? I don't really. And if I had to say I do read someone, I say I read The Craft. I read the Esoteric Library. I read Brimmore's actually, Blessed with Words of Power, for something the conjuring spells. And spells can enhance your life, enhance the life of your loved ones. It's a secret information, hidden information that should be taught at school, really, because it can only help you enhance your life, offer you salvation, and it's not taught at school. Religion is taught at school, which I think is very sad, really. Spirituality has been like omitted, missed out,
Yes.
really. But I speak from experience, not books,
Right.
although I respect people who speak from books and no experience. I respect that. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So there's, and I agree with you, Bradley. And thank you for your input and stuff. So the next one, I'm going to read this out quickly. I'm going to let Benny start first because he did leave me a private message saying he wants to answer on this, but then I get you guys to join in as well. I came to paganism and my foundation was with Chai work. I learned in Kung Fu as a kid. I found that I had to shape my Chai into my spell and that I first learned to feel the energy through my feet. Benny, what would you like to say on that? And then I'll go to everybody else to join in because he did ask to comment on that
Well,
one.
what he's saying, I know that you guys tomatoes that because of their you guys' accent, he's saying chi like Tai Chi, and I studied Tai Chi, Tai Chi Kung Fu, and I started, I know Mark, you did too. We were talking about this the other day, that yours is in Kung Fu, and my foundation is in Taekwondo, and most of these martial arts, it's through discipline, and that's why most people get into them at a young age. But he says there that I came to paganism, and my foundation was in, I think he meant Tai Chi work, because the chi is something that's energy. The chi is like how you can get your energies focused into, because you can manifest a chi ball, which is an energy ball that you can bring to yourself once you learn the art of mastering your chi. Now, when he says that my chi, I had to shape my chi into a spell. Now, that's what I wanted to speak on. The chi energy is energy. It's Tai Chi, because I do both staff, but I, like I said, I study Tai Chi Kung Fu now, which means that it's using the styles of doing. If you ever see the people doing the different Tai Chi, because basically it's focusing energy in a certain place and being able to flow with the flow. Now, I don't believe myself, because you said your foundation in paganism. That sounds like there's something that you're experimenting with, that, with Tai Chi energy into paganism, and you put it into a spell, that I first start to feel energy through my feet. Well, your Tai Chi was already giving you the energy in your feet
Bradley,
if you were
would you
studying
just
Tai
mute a
Chi.
minute, darling? Bradley, mute a minute so I can hear Benny because nobody can hear him because of the noise. That's it. Sorry. Yeah. And but this guy that you're answering to, Benny, is Chris and Chris's cousin. So,
Okay.
yeah,
I
family.
was just, yeah, because I understand that, the paganism, and, and understand spells and things of that sort. But that Tai Chi energy is an energy that's coming from yourself, that is focusing, Mark might can speak on a little bit too, that when you start to study Tai Chi and the different things, because it even works even with the chakra system, because basically it's the energy that's inside of you and focusing it into one spot,
Yes.
to be able to heal yourself through Tai Chi energy, or to be able to heal someone else. Like Sherry, you was talking about the other day about some of the feelings that we have in our hands, and you said healing hands, but some of that comes from that
Yes.
Chi energy, is what he's speaking on.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
with Chrissy and all them, I know you guys know more about spells than I do, but my warning is that to the brother there, that you're talking about an energy now, and you're talking about putting spells on energy that's already manifested. That I would just say, be cautious with that, because you're talking about an energy that's already inside of you, and you could off balance yourself, because the energies is something that you have to focus on with that Tai Chi to make sure that yourself is straight and opening up your chakras. But what we know that when you open some of these doorways, you not only invite in what you're trying to look for, but other things come in with that. And you have to be very careful there, is all I wanted to say. Make sure I got that brother that said that. Thank you,
Yeah,
Sherry,
he's
for letting
saying
me.
with chai work, I meant things like board and brick breaking, endurance,
Yeah, we've done all that.
enchant,
I do.
blindfolded attack, awareness, etc. So, guys, yeah,
Yeah,
carry this on because you guys have probably you've had a bit of
yeah. I practice bow
understanding in this
staff.
sort of
I
work.
use the bow staff. If y'all know what the stick is, and twirling the stick and bow staff and everything else, because I also do, butterfly nods and everything else. Because usually to become a black belt in any of these crafts, that you have to choose a weapon also that you have to master. And bow staff
Yeah,
is
well,
one, and the butterfly
ours
knife
is
is
our
another.
wand.
Mhm.
Ours is our wand.
Yeah, but I just wanted to, basically, I wasn't trying to tell the brother there to stop what he's doing, because whatever works for you is working for you. But to be cautious, because when you're talking about the chi energy is energy that's coming from you, that you're radiating from the source, because it's just your magnetics in
Yeah,
your body and the mantras and different things of that sort, that you get your chi energy from. And then when you go to adding spells to it, you dilute something that's already natural in you. But that's all I wanted to
yeah.
say on that.
Right. Yeah,
Anybody
Mark,
had
would
any
you like to
questions
say
about
something,
it here?
darling?
Yes, I took martial arts for 27 years, and I'm a fourth degree, what you would call a fourth degree black belt. I would have been a fifth degree, but our grandmaster passed away before I was able to be tested. I took a very old skill of martial arts, a Japanese martial arts. But what he is saying in his statement is that he's channeling his chi energy into his martial arts form, and that is correct. A good illustration of a practitioner of this was Bruce Lee, the founder of Jeet Kune Do. Basically, what you're taught to
Yeah,
do is use your
really amazing.
internalized energy and channel it beyond your natural capacities. So, if I'm throwing a strike, for instance, rather than actually aiming at my target, I'm going to channel my chi energy and aim behind the target. Sometimes it's little. When you first start, might be 4 inches, 6 inches. You'll get to where you aim a foot and a half behind your target. Your impact is exponentially greater, and it's been physically tested to have been proven valid. So he's talking about channeling chi using a martial arts form. That's not necessarily a type of witchcraft. However, there were ancient practitioners, and maybe he's doing this, and he will know. There was a group called the Wu Jin, and it was an ancient Chinese sect that would channel their chi energy into spellcrafting to use not as a physical strike per se or a direct martial art. Because remember, the term martial arts just doesn't mean the self defense or attack mechanisms of a style, it's an entire lifestyle or philosophy. So the Wu Jin would use their natural energy in everything from healing to forms of Wu Jin that would be considered more malevolent. So they would actually use it as spellcraft, most of it positive, but occasionally there were some that would use it. But I will caution you very dearly on this, because when you take your natural energy or part of your spirit, because it's spiritual energy, and you exert it, it does take from your reserve. So if you're using this as spellcraft, if it's for a positive thing, it will rebuild a little quicker. But if you use it in a malevolent way, that energy will not come back as rapidly, and you can deplete yourself pretty fast. It will also age you, and it will cause great harm to your body over time. So be careful with how you apply your chi energy. Now, Tai Chi is a style. Chi is the actual energy inside, kind of like a balancing of chakras. So be careful how you use that chi, but it can be used multiple ways.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Yeah, no.
The energy,
Anybody else
Tai
got
Chi
any
is style.
opinions on it?
Absolutely. Great answers, guys.
He has answered that one. He put he goes, he's put, yes, negative workings with chai is bad news. So he's not using it negatively. What was it you were saying, Benny, darling?
I was agreeing with that's what I was trying to make the point that we were saying that be careful when you're dealing with just the chi energy, because like Mark said that the aging and those different things. I'm glad Mark went more in depth with it there, because yeah, that can happen when you're messing with a energy that's a part of you already, because you can deplete from it, accelerate from it, or mutate it, because it's already energy, and then you put spells with it, and different things like that, which is an energy, which that spell itself has its own frequencies also, which can
Yeah.
change the
You have
structure
to
of
remember
that
balance and
energy.
everything. Yeah, balance is important.
Energy wise.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct. Correct.
And
And
that's why
I think
it's
that
true what Sister Drew said. It's
yeah,
good to have these shows because you guys have got knowledge, because magic and energy isn't just used in practice, it's used in everyday things that we do as well. So it's really good to have these sort of chats because we can kind of learn about everything. It's not just us casting spells and doing magic. This sort of work can be used in everyday, obstacles and hobbies
It's a
and things as
lifestyle.
well. And it's really important to understand that, I think. So this is really good.
Love that.
Yeah,
And
it's a
yes,
lifestyle. It's a way to live. It's a positive way to live using the vibration of Mother Earth.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm glad that you don't like it's used in a positive way. Obviously, this guy, from what it sounds like, he's very acknowledgeable in it. He knows what he's doing. But it was really good to hear it from two other people that have done that sort of thing as well, and understand it. I've not done Tai Chi. I've done karate. That's not quite the same, but you still do need to channel your energy, and you've got to be able to feel the energy. But it's nothing like chi or anything like that. You know what I mean?
mhm.
But Mike, what's
Well,
your opinions, Christopher? I'm sure. Go on,
I
Mike.
too have studied Tai Chi. I'm very familiar with that. Never actually got the chance to go to a dojo. I studied from books that I could find, practicing movements and techniques that I found over the years.
Yeah,
And one of the things that fascinated me was Bruce Lee's 1 inch punch, how he could flatten any opponent with just 1 inch using the force of his energy to do so. And
right.
that's really what
True.
turned me
Oh,
on to it.
yeah,
And using like you said there, man, with the runes, even with runic magic, anytime you're putting your own intention, or like Mark said, your spiritual energy to it, you're mutating it. So that's the process of transmutation before we get to the transformation. So the more that we do that,
yeah,
we like, hey, let's put these chemicals together to see what reaction we get. So there's the cause, then we look for the effect to see what the effect is in the field. And through that, we can determine if that's
yeah.
beneficial or detrimental, which is really cool. So yeah, awesome
yes.
question.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
It is.
Most
And
definitely. Awesome question.
Christopher, your opinion? Do you know anything about Tai Chi?
I'm not fully knowledgeable in it, but I know about balancing energy. You have to give as much as you receive. You have to have your contraction and expansion be equal so your reality bubble stays stable. Otherwise, it'll either collapse inward or you'll get fragmentation. Fragmentation of the self with too much expansion leads to dissociative identity disorder, or you would have interdimensional dysphoria.
That's interesting.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. It's amazing. So yeah, like for me, like I said, I've done karate. I've not really done the Tai Chi thing, but I do understand about the balance of energy and using it wisely, and things like that. It is very important, especially in that obviously I'm aware that that sort of thing does use energy and stuff, obviously. So it is you know, all of the stuff that these guys have said on there, you know, two of them have been professional in this, and like one of them studies it. So, you know, it's really good to have all of you guys having your comment on what the guys said in the room, and it's really interesting. That's why I love these shows. And Sister Drew was right. It's really good to have these shows because you can bring different people on, learn different things, and you know, you can pick up a lot of, you know, education and stuff, and maybe things you didn't know about. Sorts of energy needs time to flow and grow in strength within you. You put
Yes.
the kind of energy in that you want to get back out, and you will get it. Exactly. And it is very like that in our craft. We put in the energy that we want for the energy to come out. It is very similar in our witchcraft as well. We only put in what we're wanting to come out, intentions, energy, source. Uh, and Sister Drew will agree with that. And I'm sure Brother Christopher up there will as well. With our,
Everything
it's
is
very similar
balanced.
in our faith.
Everything's
Like,
energy.
yeah, it's balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about learning to work with the energies that you master. You can master the
Yeah.
energy if you really study the way that such as there's a good way to master some energy with clasping your hands together and rubbing the energy, and you can find it. So it's about mastering what you conjure and remember the balance.
That it goes like gardening. Now I will say to you there, because I'm out in the garden all the time due to my faith folk and stuff, the energy and the stuff that comes from plants and from the balance of nature, and I am so on that. And I can see Brother Mark's head going nuts because obviously he's a farmer as well, so he's getting this
Yeah.
completely. Yeah, like
That's where
and
you heal.
shamans and witches, we all love the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sister Drew,
yeah.
Sister Drew,
Yes. Yeah.
Drew, what you were, I don't know, someone keeps hitting my mic there. I don't know. So, like I said, what you were talking about is how to draw chi energy. Now, what you was talking about, rubbing your hands together. Now, if you get
Yeah.
them, after you do that and get it real, your fingers real close, you start to feel that energy that's
Yes.
coming through your fingers because you've magnetized your, and that's what that chi energy is part of.
Yeah.
That you naturally built it up there, and some are able to even make it glow when they have enough
Yeah.
focus
I
on
use
it,
it
and
if
you
I
can
smell
feel
it.
it. Yes,
I
and yeah,
focus
because
it in my candle magic.
yeah,
Yeah.
'cause I used to do
And I use it
massages
when
and
I'm doing
massage
healing and
therapy.
that, like
Yeah,
when I'm doing the
that's what I was
chakras,
gonna
I
say
use
when
the
you were
same
talking about.
energy in my healing and that. It's the energy and balancing it. So I yeah, and I love outside. Like, we literally love outside. I get a lot of energy from outside. Yeah.
Halos
Go on,
and
Mark.
auras. Halos and auras are a part of that chi energy. And yes,
Mhm.
it will absolutely make
Mm-hmm.
your plants go crazy. It's beautiful. That's like
Yeah.
the little copper wire they're talking about putting in the ground next to a plant. You're basically balancing the chakra of a plant and allowing it to absorb more energy. That's why the plants grow crazy.
Right.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Shaman Perry had that yesterday. He was showing us that thing that he had there. If you'd explain, I'd love to hear it again if you would, if you had time, Sherry. But he was talking about that metal coil that putting around the plants or whatever. I'm gonna put
Guys,
one around my head,
the shows never last 2 hours. Sherry's shows are never
man.
short. They go as long as I
This
want
is
them
called
to. And anyone has to drop off because they've got to go anywhere, they can go. I have not got a problem with that, but I'm not somebody that does 2 hours. If you want to talk, you talk your hearts out, guys. That's what I'm about.
this
Hey,
right
it's a
here.
party with you. I'm here, man. Look, last time we
And I
did
threw
one, we
that
was down
in
there
because
damn
I
near
know that my
3 hours.
beautiful
Party.
sister up there has to work in the morning. So, Sister Drew, don't feel
Yeah.
I'm
you
off
have to stay
tomorrow,
up with
so
us
I'm
if you're getting
okay.
tired.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
actually
you're all
off
right.
tomorrow,
Okay.
so I'm okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
okay
this
then.
ring
Well,
right
then
here,
come
guys,
on then. Let's party. Tell us.
it resonates to the frequency of the hydrogen atom. So anything that's inside that ring when the two ends are connected makes our energy, our molecules, vibrate at their highest potential. And what that does is it upregulates our DNA. So it takes our base DNA and then upregulates it to whatever its highest potential is. Looking at statistics, that tells us when we look at statistics, okay, their set of DNA is set to this, so they're probably going to have trouble with their focus and maybe succumb to drugs. Up leveling that is the transmutation, and the transformation is beating all those or breaking the cycles of our gene of our DNA. And if you put plants in this, guys, I like to grow some Mary Jane sometimes. I put one of my plants in there. That thing sprouted almost 4 pounds out of one plant. That's how powerful these things are. And there's a farmer that used it in his whole field. He produced enough food to feed his town for 2 years. Powerful stuff. And if you guys are interested,
Wow.
sacredmeasures.com gives you a list of all the frequencies that you can make these copper wires out of. And some of them you don't even have to turn into a circle. You just cut the length of the copper wire and stick it in the dirt. That's all you got to do. Super simple.
I think we need to get some of that, sis. I think we need to do that.
Yeah.
I raised enough that I sell tractor trailers of food, and I raise organically and do it all myself.
Love that, man.
Tractor trailer loads of food.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Oh yes.
I own the eco farm, so if you're wondering, that's my day to day.
So do you use any of this
Yes.
technology in your farm, man? What is
Yes.
it like? Like, what is the energy, like the vibe when you're around your plants and that?
It's incredibly positive. I would equate it to being near a ley line. If you've ever been really close to a magnetic ley line, it's very similar because the Earth will take on a more magnetic observance. The more you have of this, it tunes the frequency of the soil up. It makes the microorganisms in the soil super activated. So the actual feeling or vibrational energy of the area is much exponentially stronger, and it really cranks up, especially when it's hot outside. Believe it or not, at nighttime, when the plant's starting to cool down a little bit, I mean the resonance is amazing. So if you're a spell worker or if you want to do that type of crafting, a full moon in an area that has a lot of this going on, the energy is going to be through the roof. It's kind of like balancing nature's chakras.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is badass.
When you figure,
Yeah,
I grow every potato plant I grow, I average 15 pounds of potatoes per plant. I raise 6-pound tomatoes. I raise 200-pound watermelons. I raise squashes that range from 30 to 36 inches long. So I raise food that's not just food, but it breaks records. And it's not from anything other than simple applied techniques. And I use no commercial fertilizer. So the guys that are using, commercial fertilizer, they should have a leg up, but they don't. My food always outproduces them. The flavor is multitudes better, but it's better for the plants. But plants, believe it or not, like music. If you want to tune your garden up, you're going to laugh. Go somewhere and buy some wind chimes, some small wind chimes, like the little cheap ones. Hang them all through your garden. Put up things like windmills. You can get them like at the Dollar Tree or Dollar General. Plants love that stuff. If you do that, you produce so much more food in a small area. You will not believe the difference that it makes. Now, science is just catching on to this, but it's nothing more than a chi energy of the plant. Remember, they're a living being like us. They do communicate. You cannot hear them scream, but they actually do scream. They've just recently proven that. I've known this all along. We
Yes.
Chirigi
yeah,
or
they do
Cherokee
scientific
call the
stuff.
trees, we call the trees the old ones for a reason. Did you know I just finished writing a book called Medicine of the Trees? If one tree in the forest does
Yeah,
not have enough water, it will communicate and under the soil to the other trees, and the other trees will release water from their trunk. They take in about 100 gallons a day apiece, and they will release it for that other tree to have enough water to function. They do communicate.
And isn't that amazing, guys? The way that nature works
that I
together.
can most definitely say.
I love that. That is so freaking cool.
It is amazing. And where I've had the communication with nature, I know this very much. I know that they communicate, they help each other out. I know that energy resides in invite all of them together. They're very connected, and obviously, like I've said to you, I do listen and I can hear trees and plants and stuff speak. So that, they are a living organism of our world. They're like us, they have feeling, they have emotion, they have a consciousness, they know what they want, they know what they don't want. And it's very interesting having that. And that's why it's so beautiful to work with that sort of stuff. So yeah, I most definitely agree with that. So what's sister saying there? Yes, my husband grandma always talked and sang to her plants. My auntie did the same. My auntie would stroke them, speak to them, sing to them. She always told me to do that, and that's what I do when I'm outside. I will sing to my plants, I will talk to my plants, and it is a phenomenal thing. It's beautiful. So I agree there very much so.
Did
Anybody
you
else
guys?
got any comments?
Yeah. Did you guys know that we now have the technology? There's these clips that we can put on the plants, and it will produce the song of the plant. We can literally hear the frequency of the plant. All we've got to do is attach these two little electrodes. I'm trying to look up the name on Amazon right now, but they're fascinating to play with. It's called Plant Wave.
Oh yes, they are cool.
Yeah.
And just think of that,
Never
guys.
seen you've never seen nothing more beautiful than when your tomato plant sings when it gets enough water.
Yes, love that. And those frequencies
It
we
is
can
the
tap
most
into ourselves.
beautiful thing. And they give you
You,
the most radiant and beautiful energy as well.
did you know you don't even need
They
to
do.
see it? You don't need to see it. You don't need to hear it. You can smell it. Your plants will talk to you using smell too. Christopher,
Yes.
I'd encourage you to go to a garden that needs watering it, and tell me the difference. You will be able to smell the distinct difference with the plants
That
when
is
they're
a cool
happy.
idea. That would be so cool.
Yeah, you
It is
can. They
very
give off
cool.
some beautiful aroma when they're healthy and stuff like that. They do.
Oh yeah.
They do.
That's why I'm a plant nerd. I can't stand to see a plant die. So like when they sell all the plants and they get ready to get rid of them, I try to snatch them all up and plant them real fast.
I'd just like to say, because Christopher's gone to have his dinner, thank you, Christopher, for joining us on the show. It's been really awesome to have you up here and giving some of your knowledge as well, sweet. He has dropped down. So, yeah, that was really cool having Christopher up. I think this is a really good show. I think we're all getting our points and our views across. That is what these shows are about. They're about us all connecting with our communities and learning people about what our world can do for us and the things that we can do back. And I think that's a really important thing. And it doesn't always have to be, spiritually connected. It can be a lot of different things. Obviously, spirituality does drop into this. The more you're open, the more you're connected, the more you can understand what people are saying. So I'm really enjoying this show. So like, this show's for you guys. So you say what you want to say, like put your words out there, and because these guys in my chat are like knowledge books. They like to take knowledge, and they will take it. Believe me, they're really cool. I have learned a lot from watching all of you. Thank you, sis. That's beautiful of you to say that, Misty.
Yes, thank you, Misty.
Yeah, and Misty's another very phenomenal lady. She does all her healing and stuff like that. She actually has been she has been helping Benny with his healing for his pain. She's very good at that, and this all comes into it. So,
Talking about plants,
yeah,
one of the first things I learned in shamanism was how to communicate with them and build that relationship. So it's not just about studying with them, it's cultivating that relationship just like you would with a person. And the more you build that, the easier that communication becomes.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, when you hear a plant really talk to you for the first time, it's freaking trippy. And it really helps expand.
Definitely. I done it with the trees. I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, the trees are speaking to me. Thought I was losing it finally.
My first experience, like hearing them talking and stuff, was when I was quite young and that. So I used to think I used to sit there and be like, "Who's that talking to me?" And I'd be looking around and sitting there, and then I was like, "Who
I
is
thought it
that?"
was
And
my
then one
niece.
of the trees said to me, "Look to your left." And I looked to the left. I said, "Well, the only thing that's to my left is a tree." They go, "Yeah, it's me talking to you." And I'm like, "Huh?" And like, really? You
I was
talk?
walking past
It's
my
just like it
niece's
was.
house. I thought it was her window was open, and I'm like, "There's no lights on. Who was that?" And then I was like, "Did that
Yeah.
tree speak?" And then I was like, all the way across the road. I'm like, "That must have been that tree. It must have been the tree." Then I came straight in here and started speaking to the clan group. Like, I think I just heard the tree speak, but I don't know what it
I
said.
remember
I
when
just
you
didn't
came
hang
in
around
saying
to
about
ask.
it.
The more you do it, the more they will speak. Once they realize that you have a receptive ear, remember, humans lost the ability to talk to plants and
Oh, I
animals
definitely
due
hear
to,
them now. Yeah,
yeah, we lost the ability based on our own actions. When you're found worthy enough by either an animal species or plant species, they will let you hear them in their own way. So they do
that's what I was
communicate.
saying
We just
to
have to
you
Yeah.
tune
the other
in.
night. That's what I was saying to you the other night. The tree that my nephew had his accident on, we all played in that. Well, not me personally, the kids growing up, because the tree was there obviously when I was growing up, but the tree swing's been there for maybe 20 years. So I hear that tree calling to me to go down and heal it. I know that it wants me to go down and do a couple of little things to help it get its strength back.
Take some organic
Yeah,
fertilizer
and
and
it's
give to it.
understandable.
Gift the tree something. Watch the results crank up. If you
Yeah,
gift things, remember you get a better result because everything wants to feel included or inclusive. Believe it or not, just giving something like organic fertilizer to a tree, you don't think that it makes a difference, but it does. And that tree has a consciousness, it knows, and
no, I
it will
already know what it
respond in
wants.
kind.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
it
they told
definitely
me.
does need to. It definitely needs a healing. I'm not going to go into detail with what happened, but a tragic accident happened on the tree, and to do with Drew's nephew, bless him, and
Yeah,
she's feeling it, isn't she, Drew?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that place
definitely.
brought so much joy to all the kids, and for that to happen down there, the tree itself really has took it to heart, and a couple of the other trees around it as well. And also, there's a little bit of water where the kids all go and throw in like stones and things. So nobody's went near the tree since. Basically, the kids all go there and maybe hang out and see all Jordan's little trinkets and things that's left. But through the years now, no kids are going to play there, obviously. They'll not be allowed to play there probably with their parents. So that bit of land is going to feel that. So I will every year go and give it what joy it needs, the joy that it would have had if the accident didn't happen. I'll go and take it some offerings and things and just let the
Take,
land know that nobody blames it, you know.
go go to a cheap store and get a small pair of wind chimes and gift the tree, and it plays music with the wind to the tree. The tree will enjoy
Yeah,
it
well,
immensely.
that's a good
Notice
idea. Yeah, well,
if you have a fruit tree, have you noticed that if you pick the fruit, it produces more fruit the next year?
yeah,
It produces a
yeah,
lot more fruit if you pick it. If you ignore that tree's energy, it will not produce near as much.
yeah. No, that's a good idea. I will get some wind chimes. Yeah, it needs some joy back in the land down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some wind chimes, some good fertilizer that's healthy and not got horrible pesticides and whatever
Yeah,
in it. And just giving her a little bit of love, Drew. You know what to do. Go up and give her a cuddle.
she
It's
wants
okay.
red
We know
cedar.
it's not your
Yeah,
fault.
she
And
wants some red cedar. She wants heather.
yeah,
She wants tobacco, water,
yeah.
and bread. That's what she wants. And I'll
You
also
give her
take some
whatever
off.
she wants because that'll help her to
Yeah,
heal.
definitely.
Yeah.
She will
Benny,
be fine.
is there
Give her
something
a
you want to
couple of
say?
times.
Yeah, I was letting it
She
finish.
will.
Well,
Benny, what do you want to
Yeah,
say, brother?
First off, I'm gonna say something else, but Drew, I'm pray for healing through that, whatever happened or whatever. It's now that I've met you,
Yeah.
I feel a connection. I think I just seen what happened in my head. I get the slashes, but bless the family, and I hope for healing through y'all. But what I was gonna say was what you was talking about, the fertilizer. Now, Amy Reynolds, Chrissy's daughter, she was talking about giving blessings to the tree when me and Sherry and them were talking the other day about the fairies, and they were talking about some delicious treats given the fairies and everything else, all these honeysuckles and all
Oh
that.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was, hey, they got me. I keep donuts around me now, messing with them. They giving the fairies all that. Give them the Benny, but no, um, I can't remember the words that Amy used. But then when I thought about what she was talking about, I was like, oh, okay. But Chrissy, if you could tell me what she said, because she was like, I use. I think she said either my moon juice or she said something. She was talking. You know what you tell her what she said because it made her part of the tree. So you know what I mean. What
She uses her period blood.
but she called it something else. I wasn't gonna come out and say it like
Oh,
that.
I don't know what she calls it. I think it was
Ask her what she
mojo
called
juice or something.
it. Yeah, she
Moon
said
juice.
something. I was like, well, what you got? What you gonna get? She's like, think about it, Benny. I was like,
It's called moon juice.
oh, you're talking about period juice.
Yeah, moon juice.
Yours.
What she does is sometimes
Yeah, moon.
their cycles can go along with the full moon and stuff. At
Right, moon
least
juice.
in this household, the women does that.
Yeah. And they like,
And
that gives a connection
yeah,
to nature. And I was like,
so
that's cool.
we
I didn't
always
think about that.
I can most definitely
Yeah,
relate to
always
that
mine.
use
because
it
I just come off
ourselves
my
and stuff.
cycle over the full moon as well. And yeah, I know to some people it might sound disgusting, but it's not, because it's our natural
That's
source in our bodies, and it's something
Yeah.
that's formed of Mother Earth and Mother Nature. So using that to give back to her is a very beneficial thing.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
can give
right.
more
your
common
plants
than you
too.
think.
Did you know that human urine is an incredible fertilizer? But you have
Yeah,
to
my mind.
dilute it. But don't put it on pure. I'll give you a test, and I know that you think I'm crazy, so I'm going to prove something. I want all of you to take an experiment. If you'd like to try, take some human urine, mix it with 7 parts of water. So 1 part urine, 7 parts water, and water your grass with it. Watch what happens to that patch of grass versus the rest of the grass. You'll thank me later. And we waste this resource.
Right. Because now if that grass end up looking like me or something, Mark, I'm coming to you. If I already got 5 kids,
No,
some
no.
grass for
It's
3 kids.
You go.
then it's not going to turn
Don't
to
fuss
your
at
color, but it's going to be beneficial.
Okay,
don't fuss at me when you have to cut it though, because it's going to be
Yeah.
exponentially bigger, thicker, and greener than any grass around it. It's going to be huge.
Those are my
well,
babies. It's my grass.
I have one more thing to say about that. You know,
Yeah.
in our path, in our tradition and stuff, when a young woman first gets her period, we do the coming of age. Okay, so what we do is they are clothed. Okay, but we let them bleed onto the earth for their coming of age, and that is to tell the goddess, "Thank you for me becoming a woman." So I know that sounds disgusting for some people, but I guess if you're
No, it's
really
not.
into your craft, you're really into it. So,
It's just one of
but yes,
those things not spoke about that people do, though.
They
yeah,
do it, and I've done it. I've
yeah,
done it like for like things like when I come of age and stuff like that. I didn't do it
yeah,
intentionally, but I started outside standing on grass, so she got mine anyway. So it was kind of like, whoa, I've turned into a woman, like sort of thing, like
yeah,
But I do
Use
that
the
very
blood.
freely now, and I think some people would probably sit there and be like,
yeah.
but it's not, it's natural,
Well,
Yeah,
Lady
my
you know.
Grace
daughters
has
don't
a
like saying
video.
that.
Lady Gravedancer's video that mentioned menstrual blood magic in it was one of the videos that she got the most views on. So it shows you that people have got that curiosity about that type of magic, because people do it, but they don't speak of it.
Yeah, and you know, it's really,
just
if
like
you
to say
think
thank
about
you
it,
to
it's
Mike.
very beautiful.
Mike,
It's very
thank you for
beautiful.
coming, darling, and lots of love. Yeah, go on, sis. It's all right. Mike left,
Oh,
so I
I
just
was
wanted to
just
say
saying,
bye to him and
yeah,
that.
if you really think about it, it's very beautiful for you to do that.
It is.
Okay. And the thing is it's, a lot of people don't look at it that way. They think of it as being disgusting and everything. But it's just like saying thank you, for me becoming a woman. Thank you for the blessing,
Yeah, you're
It's
sharing your essence.
mystery. Yeah.
Part of the mysteries.
Cool. When she said it,
How can a creature
what it made me think about, because if y'all don't know, I got OCD thinking too, even though I got OCD. But cohesion, if y'all know what cohesion is, it's when the combining of liquids or whatever, how liquids come to a flow in the same path. And it seems like sometimes when I pee, excuse me, we're talking about pee. This is crazy. But anyway, that peeing in a toilet sometimes, like when you go into a nasty bathroom at a gas station, I don't like peeing in those. It's like, because that stream is going down into this water, and there's a connection that something could come through that
Because that's
cohesive
your essence. You don't
connection of
want to put it
water.
there. Yeah.
But when I, like what you said, that when I pee in front of a tree, or because us as little boys, your daddy's like, oh, put it near that tree, boy, or go on the side of that house. That it always felt natural. It was like watching the pee at the ground, and I'm thinking, hey, I'm a part of this tree right now. In my belief system. So I can see where
the rain dilutes it. The rain
in the
dilutes
olden
it out,
days when our
Benny.
ancestors were here, that we didn't have that. They didn't have toilets. They would pee in nature. They would do their business in nature. That is what they would do.
But we have it backwards. This is the problem. When you have a septic tank or a sewer, you're taking something that is natural resources and turning it into a toxic cesspool when it is a natural fertilizer in all ways. Both forms of waste are a fertilizer. So we turn something that is a natural fertilizer into a toxic mess to pollute the waters rather than having it diluted. I'm going to give you a case scenario. If you have a septic tank or a sewer, it produces methane gas. An average couple of two people, your septic waste alone creates enough natural gas to heat for 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day. In other words, it's the same as propane. You can actually cook with it, and this is wasted resources. That's why I'm considered an expert in sustainability, because I realize how much humanity wastes from the things you never think about. There's beautiful things that we waste as commodities continuously. We're the most wasteful animal on the planet.
Hey, boy, take that gas off that stove. We're going to pee on that stove and go take a dump, and we need that.
But you can put gas fixtures into your septic tank lid, run it through a bubble trap, so it runs through a little chamber of water. The gas that comes up from there, you can cook off of it. You will not smell no stink. You can heat and cook off of it, and you're buying propane gas by the bottles, right? Or LP or natural gas. When you make it free every day and you waste it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm saving my pee from now on. Ain't no toilet gonna get my pee. I'm keeping mine.
Hey, keep it, mix it with water in a 5-gallon bucket. Just sneak out your yard at night and water your yard. Watch your grass. You have the greenest grass in your neighborhood with no chemicals.
That ain't right. You can learn a lot in these shows, man.
You'll have everyone come to you. Hey, Benny, how did you get it so clean? Just pee in a bottle and put some water in it, and hey, presto.
7 parts of water, So if you got a gallon, you have to add 7 gallons of water to dilute it properly to keep it from being
Yeah.
toxic to your plant. But after you
Yeah.
dilute it 7 or more to 1, it is a natural, completely natural fertilizer. It will not burn your plants. You can put it on any plant, and it is highly, highly effective. And then this is the type of techniques they use in South America. This is why you get E. coli and different things into your food supply, because in third world countries they'll do some of these techniques, but they don't wash it off. And so when you get it from Kroger or whatever or Walmart, you take it in your kitchen and you just pour it in a dish and eat it. It's not been washed. So that's how these things and pathogens a lot of times will travel. But if you do it clean and responsibly, you can utilize these techniques and cost you a lot less
Definitely
money.
growing my own.
What was the
I gotta
question?
I said I'll definitely be growing my own now. Yuck.
agree.
And remember, you don't even have to eat it. Think about this. If that tree that we were talking about, if you took some in a jug that was mixed with water, that's a natural fertilizer. That tree will enjoy that more than you know, because it has phosphorus, calcium, and a lot of trace minerals that is necessary for a tree or a plant's development. So it's a symbiotic cycle. It's how nature designed things. It's
Yeah.
mankind that screwed up the process with our quote civilization.
I'll start with bread and water for the spirit and the mind.
Wow.
I have a coven sister that lives off grid, and she does that too. Of
Yeah,
course, I mean,
we're sustainable.
yeah,
Yeah,
she
we're
has,
sustainable.
she has her little potty and stuff though, but she has it where she saves it up, and
Mhm.
dumps it out. Well, not on the planter, but she dumps it into some water. She does do the 7 parts of water and everything, diluted and everything, and that's what she uses to water her plants. And she always has a nice garden and everything because she lives off grid, so she depends on the land a lot.
But she's living in harmony with nature. So
Yes.
we're talking about
Yes.
spirituality. There's a spirituality within nature. And so
Mhm.
where we went off here is into the spirituality of nature. So we're
Mhm.
talking about the natural world. When I talk
Yeah.
about civilization, we're talking about how mankind has tried to organize religion, how we live. Well,
Mm.
we can't do that because it's not sustainable. It doesn't work. And all we do is mess it up with chemicals and nastiness.
Yeah.
Mhm. True. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, we go and
That's why
spend
these
about
shows
a week or 2 with her sometimes, and it's very interesting because, like Mark said, we're so civilized, but when you go off grid, it's like a total different story. It gets, especially in Colorado. She lives in the San Luis Valley,
Yeah,
and
I know
it's
where it's at.
yeah, she has 4 mountain ranges, and so it's beautiful. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
desert, she got nothing really.
Hmm.
You have to carry in the water. You have to use a generator, but you gotta use it, sparsely and everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, it gets
Water's a
really, really
commodity
cold.
there.
It
Yeah,
gets really
water's a commodity. They even get mad if they collect rainwater there. I thought about moving there at one point, but they pretty much have 2 seasons, sadly. But it's a beautiful area.
yeah, it is 2 seasons. It is beautiful area. Yeah, it is. I missed it. We lived there for about 10 years, and yeah. Well, no, I guess 8 years. Sorry, 8 years we lived there, and yeah, I miss it badly. I miss the mountains.
I'm going to get me a writer's cabin up in West Cliff, Colorado.
So.
Well, I tell you, when I
Mm.
when I first went to Virginia with my ex, that I had never seen a real outhouse. I had seen them on TV and stuff like that, and I was, we was drinking beer and stuff back then. I got liver cirrhosis now, but I said, I got to go to the bathroom. It's like, well, you got to go outside, down around that tree, and you'll see the box back there. I'm like, what? The bathroom ain't in the house. You know, we was in Saluda, Virginia, out near the Rappahannock, kind of close to where Chris Brown grew up. I was like, so you want me to go down this dark little alley down here? You know, I'm a city boy. I'm like, bears, werewolves, Bigfoot's gonna get me, and you want me to go in this little dark box and sit down on this damn thing where snakes can come up? No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. So I just went on the side of the house. But I'm just saying that, you know, when you guys that grew up in that, you know, being a city boy, you know, you have to learn. And like I said, there's different ways. Like what you're saying, you know, both of you guys are saying these people that lived off the grid and you know can
Yeah.
learn to survive like that. That's so awesome. That's was one of them things. I was like, man, I've got to learn that if I get thrown into somewhere, I got to figure out where I'm gonna go. But I'm not going. I'm claustrophobic. I'm not going in a little box where I can't see nothing in the dark, down where nobody can hear me screaming if something is attacking me. No, I'm gonna just go right here outside the house. So I did like most girls. Hey, I'm off the squat right there, and sorry, hey, put some water on it. Hey, I don't
I I
care.
used to write. I used to write for two major magazines, Grit Magazine and Mother Earth News. We figured
Yeah,
out you build a two-story potty house on a hillside. The bottom story is where everything falls, but in that bottom story, you drill holes in the wall and put fruit jars with holes in the lid. What happens is you keep a bucket of sawdust in there. When you do your business, you throw the sawdust on top of it so it composts, but the fruit
yeah,
jars catches flies. So in the summer, when you would have flies buzzing around, the flies are not in there. They go into the little fruit jars and you catch and kill the flies. So it's a very clean process if you do it right.
that's wild. That's wild. I was scared one of those attack me, man. The flies. It seemed like things be
The
after me,
flies get you, yeah. Or it's
Oh, I'm
cold.
going to drop
What's
down.
worse
That's
is it's
okay.
20 degrees.
I'll drop
What'd you
down, but
say?
Say that
I'll
again,
be in
sis.
chat till I'm going to drop down, but I will be in chat until I fall asleep. But it's been
Yeah,
a
you
great
Okay,
got it.
my angel. Thank you for coming up. This is my
no
co-host,
problem.
guys. She's
I
gonna
will
go
see you
now.
next
So
week.
thank you, sister. Please make sure you all support if you don't know her.
Thank you. Blessed be,
Love you,
guys.
sis.
Love you too.
Thank you for
Good
coming up,
night.
sis. Love you.
Love you.
Bye bye. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Being blessed. Peace and love, Drew.
Yeah, no,
Civilization
we're probably
remaining.
not going to be on much longer anyway because this show has been nearly 3 hours long. We're at 2 hours and 32 minutes, but it's been an amazing show and we've been talking about a lot of interesting stuff. You've learned a lot of things you probably didn't know, guys, and it's really good for our earth and our nature. And don't be squeamish about it because it's natural. We are Mother Earth, Mother Nature's children. So give back to them, and I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming up and having this amazing show with me tonight and bringing so much knowledge and education to everyone. I very much appreciate all of you. If you want to wait behind the scene, you can. But what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm just going to cut off. If all of you want to say a quick something each to them, or again on how they can follow you, a lot of them are already following anyway. But if you can all put your little bit in. So we'll start with Sis first because her battery's going low.
Yeah, just the best way to follow us is go to the Facebook group within the Cauldron. You can direct message us once you get onto the group, and you can just follow us. You can go to our YouTube channel within the Cauldron Glow, GLOW, for the YouTube. And also, if you want to email us, it's within the Cauldron Glow at gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Sis. Benny?
Just so that you guys know that we're part of a family of shows that within the Cauldron, Willow Show, Bradley's show, True Secrets Prophecy. One of my shows that Sherry is co-host, and we brought Mark in now with Exploring New Phenomenon, and with Christopher Peoples that was just on here, Untwisting Time, that we do on these different days. So this is kind of a family of us. No need to list all the different Facebook groups because, like I said, we usually air most of our shows to within the cauldron or to Sherry's YouTube or to my YouTube, and then we get them out there to the world. And like she said, that most of what we do, the knowledge and the understanding, we do this for y'all. We do this for free. We do, like I said, so many of them, put out fires in people's hearts that some people are hurting because they don't understand certain things. And it hurts us because some of us that are part of trying to help others, it affects us. We don't want to see people hurting. We don't want to see you not getting a clear understanding of what's going on in the world, like how Mark brings it to us. We all have different perspectives, and I appreciate, Sherry letting me on the show to be able to express that.
Yeah, and I appreciate having you on here, brother. So going over to Mark as well. Mark, my dear.
I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm Mark Brown, or Mark Nightwolf Brown. A lot of people just call me Farmer Brown, and you can follow me at the Eco Farm in Sweetwater, Tennessee on Facebook. Again,
Brilliant.
thanks for
And
having me.
lovely Bradley. You're very welcome, and it's been amazing to have your knowledge and stuff here. I would like to quickly say before I go to Bradley, thank you to Christopher, to Mike, and to the guys that have been up here and have gone. It's been amazing hearing your knowledge and stuff as well. Bradley, would you like to say where they can catch you again, Media?
Yeah, my advice to everyone: if you enjoy esoteric intellect, spiritualism, extraterrestrial ufology, and many other diverse subjects, like, subscribe, and share this show or any of the shows that you see on our channels. And also, please feel free to inbox any of us if you have a question or if you wish to connect with one of us and you're struggling. Contact any of us, and we will be there to help you out. We're here for you, to be honest with you. In fact, the shows that we broadcast are for the benefit of yourself, to help you to grow, flourish, blossom, and grow. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Bradley. And from me,
Yeah.
obviously, I want to thank everybody that's come up on the panel and made the show really awesome today. Thank you to all of the guys that have left the panel. You've been awesome. Thank you to my beautiful sister Drew for coming up. That's my co-host. Love you, sis, and thank you for being there and helping me to do the show. I love and appreciate all of you. And to all of my family and my angels in the chats, thank you for coming and supporting our shows and for being here, guys, and all of your amazing questions. We love you all very much. And as Bradley and everybody said, if you need to reach out to us, you can on the platforms. Obviously, you know who I am. You can get me on Sherry Brett or Sherry M Brett on Facebook. You can get me under my channel, PWI Spiritual Investigators. But from all of us, thank you so much for supporting, guys. Thank you for being here. And we are here to educate you and to help you guys. And that's what this is all about. And lots of love and light. I'm now just going to play out the intro, but that is the outro this week as well. That my sister Drew done me.
Bye, everybody.
So lots of love, light, and blessings, guys. May you have a blessed day and evening. And thank you for watching us. And we're just going to do the outro, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Blessed be. Don't forget to tune in for the next shows, guys.
Welcome to Untwisting Time, your one-stop shop for the confusing, the strange, and the new, on Sundays at 9 or 10 p.m., depending upon when it starts, on the Benny Trent YouTube channel and in his Facebook groups, where anything from frequencies to how we know